What is up, everyone? What is up? Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. How y'all doing? How's everyone doing today? It's almost the end of the week. TGIF, thank God it's Friday. That's tomorrow. Ugh, man, everything's been going crazy. Let's see. We had quite a few things happen just yesterday. So, we had, Tesla had their earning report out. Didn't look good for them. Which is kind of interesting. Their stock is still ticking up. I think you have a lot of people just coping with the reality. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then we also had the unfortunate situation with the plane hitting the helicopter. That was interesting. Had a Black Hawk Down moment there. Well, not the same way. This is like what a lot of people associate with that movie and everything. Tesla is a cult. It's trading on rumors of taxi services, which is hilarious because, you know that they said they're going to have to do another hardware upgrade on the cars to be able to do the autonomous driving after they already had to replace the hardware. Like, what was it? They were on hardware 3. Now they have to go to hardware 4. And that was after they did the whole upgrade from hardware 2. And there were lawsuits and everything like that. Like, Tesla is really not as advanced as a lot of people want to believe they are. Especially when you compare them on the global market. One question, did you message me earlier and ask how I was doing? Nah. Like, no offense. I barely use TikTok to message people unless I'm friends with you for a while. Greeting, Linux dude. I'm new to it myself. Welcome to the party. Yeah, it's a lot of hype. Tesla is overhyped. The honest truth is a lot of tech people, the serious tech people, have kind of seen through the guys for a while, especially when Elon started cheaping out and was only putting cameras in, and didn't add sensors, made this whole argument against cameras. Because guess what the biggest enemy of a camera is? A dirty lens. You can only do so much with the camera. You need sensors to fill in the other data. Like, think about it just as a human. We don't function purely off of sight. We have to touch. We have to hear. We have pressure. Well, that's touch. You know, you have all these different senses we have just to function in the world. Cars need the same thing if you want them to be autonomous and everything. No one has my profile. Go look at the actual account. You'll see it's someone impersonating me. It's funny how everyone's like, well, somebody has your account. And I'm like, no one has my account. People can make other accounts, take my logo, and then just make it look like me. Hold on one second. I am just setting this up. I need to charge my watch. And then we also got some new hardware tonight. I will definitely be making a TikTok and a YouTube video about it separately. Thank you for the follow, Enzanto. Enzanto? I don't know if I said that right. Thank you. May your tech be as magical as a Disney movie. Oh yeah, did you hear that Disney apparently pulled out of a few countries? The channel? Disney Channel. Not Disney the company. Okay. Moving topics. Sad I went with an XPS. Wish I went for System 76. The Dell XPS is great if you want Windows. But if you want a more of a Linux experience, System 76, Tuxedo Computers, HP has the Dev 1 as well. Those are all good brands. I think I'm forgetting one. Oh, Nova Custom. Nova Custom's another one. Two of those brands are European, though. Oh no, someone has your OF account, Chief. Hey, how's it in Norway? God, it's gotta be late for you. Thank you for coming here. It's gotta be late for you, buddy. I appreciate it, so. Thanks for the content. You're welcome. I do it because I like to educate and tinker and help everyone understand. Fuck off. You are not getting my food. You can get pets. You're not getting my food. Did you see that Facebook called Old Linux malware? We talked about that last stream. And I was talking about the, I may eventually do a follow-up video on it, myself. I just finished editing another video, for YouTube. That's why I was a little late. Basically the premise is that government-funded projects doesn't mean that there's a government backdoor. Specifically talking in this case about Signal Messenger as well as the Onion router, Tor browser. Essentially my view is that it's just the typical incompetence of Facebook. Facebook moderation has been incompetent for many years. Back when I had a Facebook profile, do you know how many times I got labeled for hate speech, for making Jewish jokes when I'm Jewish? And it wasn't any, like, it wasn't horrible jokes. It was literally Jewish humor. Got that labeled as hate speech. Facebook moderation has not been good for years. Do not get me wrong. I do not advocate for this whole community note bullshit they have. They just need to step their game up. Late indeed, was sitting up with some schoolwork. Today's lesson, subnetting. Almost 2 a.m. here. If you want to get a good lesson of subnetting in practice, like I always recommend, pfSense Firewall. Make one, read the manual. The beginning of the entire manual reads like a textbook teaching you basic networking concepts. That's actually how I learned. And I didn't go to school for this. I'm a ThinkPad lover, personally. ThinkPads are great. I started out with an IBM ThinkPad X20. That was my first laptop ever. Pentium 3 processor, 733 megahertz. My dad gave it to me. That didn't have wireless built in. It didn't even have an Ethernet port built in. You had to use a PCM-CIA card that I would have to alternate between if I wanted to get my wireless B, and then later G, or Ethernet. And that was back when my dad actually wired the whole house with Ethernet. And we would literally go room to room with dongles. Not dongles, but Ethernet just hanging out. Let's see. I get message from you every other day. Yeah, there's so many different bots. We kind of have taken to... So I've reported a lot of them to TikTok. Make that clear. I've reported them. TikTok doesn't want to do anything. How's the Bohr company doing? Didn't Boring Company get shut down or something? It wasn't doing well. It was another case of overhyped products. I think the only thing they had was that tunnel under Vegas or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I had a question with something on Linux and he replied LOL, but had no clue what I was talking about. Only issue I just installed and getting this a bit of a scratchy sound when I play vids and stuff. It depends on your setup, or things like that. You may just have to update some packages. It's kind of hard to know for sure, because it also can be like what's specific with your hardware, the driver. It takes a little bit of tinkering. I think this guy knows he's talking about. Had a couple chats with him and sounds solid. Talking about me? I hope I sound solid. Otherwise, I hope or the other way, I hope I'm like Bruce Lee, and I'm like water, and I can fill any vessel. Be like water. Flow. Reminds me of the bar I wrote when I was, rapping with friends a few years ago. I'm a rocket like a cop on top, non-stop, they never get the drop. There's always Bob and we, something to deceive, get no reprieve for you and me. Digitally like Bruce Lee, fluid like water, better not bother. By the time you see me, I'm 3 country away, so best not play or end your day. The 3 little boys need to hide things too. What better way than blending into the crowd? That's actually what I was gonna talk about in I make that point in my upcoming YouTube video where, pardon me if I'm eating, I forgot to eat today, so bear with me. But yeah, I'm gonna be talking a little bit about that, how, because a lot of people say, like, oh, well, Signal's backdoored because the government's funding it, or Tor's backdoored because the government's funding it, and I'm like, no, the government's funding it because they're using it too, and it's easier for them to have plausible deniability by blending into the crowd. It's easier to hide, not easier, but it's better to hide in plain sight than to actively be hiding, if that makes sense. I was blocked until I authenticated with what info they didn't have, so I gave up. Wait, what? Well, so I didn't know this until I tried Switch. What? What did you not know? Real fast, man, is that just because I just downloaded and it's working on some files to get better? Only question I'll bother you with, man. What? What are you downloading? Sorry. Oh, only issue. Oh, it's kind of hard to know for say when you're talking about the scratchy audio and stuff like that. It could just be that you need to update some packages. Zorin's a pretty good OS, but I haven't used it in a while. I use Pop OS. They all pretty much have the same stacks and everything like that, but I don't know what audio backend Zorin uses. Are they on Pipewire? I don't know. Sort of 2-year school of network and IT security. Time to get some papers on my Linux skills. Nice. Twitch plays ads if you're not paying. Yeah. But here's the thing. That ad money, I get the majority of the ad money. I think it's a 55% split. So if you're subscribed to my channel, you don't get ads. If you don't, then there's an ad that rolls once in a while. But I try to minimize it. So what does I do, like 3 minutes of ads per hour? I think it's split up in 2 segments, if I'm not mistaken. And that's pretty common. PFSense has a manual? Yeah. Everything has a manual. That's why there's the meme in the tech community of read the fucking manual. That's fire. It cuts your video out. Yeah. That's why you don't use a VPN on top of Tor. It makes you stick out. Not really. There's arguments for and against. Because the reality is, in certain countries, you need to have that extra hop, either through a bridge or a VPN. Think like China, for example. You can't, you can't just hop into Tor when in China. You need an initial hop out. When you are in countries that control your access to information, it's a little bit harder to just dump in. I get 0 chief bots. I gotta make my bot. I gotta make the LLM bot that's gonna work with that. See, I don't care if the government funding it as long as they have open source so I can see if there's a backdoor. That's basically the argument that I've made when it comes to Signal and a few other things. Basically, my question is, networking is disabled in my Kali Hunter and I'm unable to start it. I've done research, but everything point to WSL and I'm not in Windows. A lot of people use Kali more as a VM than they do as their actual bare metal operating system. If you're trying to run something bare metal, I don't recommend Kali. I recommend Parrot OS. Parrot OS is actually designed to be a daily desktop operating system that has security tools. Use that instead if you're running bare metal. Preferably put Kali in a virtual machine. Might go back to Fedora. Yeah. What to buy? Oh yeah, so this is my new open source toy. I funded this project a little over a year ago. This is the Tangara. You know what this is? So as many of you know, I've been rocking an iPod for many years. An iPod Classic. Modded, repaired this multiple times. This is what I listen to music with. The only thing I don't like about it, of course, you still got to use iTunes. You still got to use the 30-pin connector. This little connector here, that little proprietary 30-pin. Will it focus? Focus, damn it. There you go. That little 30-pin connector, which can be a pain. So this just came in today after a very patient 1-year-long wait from Crowd Supply. So, let's look at this together. I literally am opening this and getting my first impressions along with you. Behold, the Tangara. Completely open sourced. Right to repair friendly. Music player. Built with an ESP32. And since it uses an ESP32, similar to a Flipper Zero, one could actually program this if you wanted to do like flippery things. Oh yeah, SD card's not inserted. Oh yeah, that's why I got this guy over here. Oh, the cool thing about this one, apparently it also supports the lossless codecs like FLAC. So they say it has a 20-hour battery life. It's got a 2200 milliampere battery, which is a little bit smaller than the battery I crammed in this. This is about a 3000 milliamp battery in there. And I fit a 128 gig SD card in here after I replaced the hard drive. So we're going to slap a 256 gig SD card. It can fit up to 2 terabytes in this guy. Come on, you little bastard. There we go. So I do have to play with this for probably a couple of days to get the hang of it. But it takes a regular SD card. And it's got a click wheel over there. I will say this, not as clicky as, it's got a haptic touch, but this does have Bluetooth in it. And we'll definitely have to play with this a little bit more. The other nice thing is, USB-C connection. This literally, besides my work phone, this literally was the only thing in my entire arsenal of portable devices not using USB-C. So yeah, you can just turn on Bluetooth, connect your headset there if you want. Or, oh, it's nice. You can actually adjust the headphones a little bit more than, come on, focus. You can adjust this a little bit better for the maximum volume limit and all that than other things. You can give it a minus 10 decibel boost or a, the options are negative 10, plus 6, or plus 10. There we go. So we'll just keep that to there. And then, what do we want to do? USB. Oh, you can use this as a USB storage, too. And also, this did pass FCC inspection, apparently. So, it's legit. They gave you a little sticker here. Not quite sure what this is over here. It's like some kind of a button. They give you a couple of extra screws and a little screwdriver in here. So, they honestly are encouraging you to use it. Comes with a little manual over here. So, like, the extras are, like, slim pickings, so, obvious. Oh, this is kind of nice. It's got actual dedicated volume buttons, apparently. Yeah. So, that is a nice touch compared to the iPod, because if you use the iPod, you have to, like, shuffle in and out of the volume section. Come on, focus, damn it. God damn. The focus on this is about as I am with ADHD. This is why I need to get a different camera. Do some better stuff. So, the only complaint I have about this versus the iPod is this is just a haptic wheel versus that's a click wheel. Quick start. Prepare an SD card in an appropriate with music in the appropriate way. Supports all FAT file systems and can play music in WAV, MP3, Vorbis, FLAC, and Opus formats. Oh, I see what that is. That little piece that they had, that's the SD card cover. Nice. Move your thumb or finger clockwise around the touch wheel to scroll towards the menu or anti-clockwise. Okay. Tap the center of the touch wheel to select the highlighted item, blah, 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 blah. Fingara will automatically index your music. Okay. So what I'm going to do here... Should have an SD card reader around here somewhere. I know I have one somewhere around here. There we are. Knew I had one. Probably not the one I usually use, because I don't remember where I put that, but it'll do for the moment. But will it run Doom? It could. It can run Doom if you probably do it. So it is completely hackable, so you can actually install, what's it called? Not install. You can code whatever you want. I think it's in Lua, so you could use Lua to get that taken care of. Let's see. Throw an audiobook on there. You can. What I'm going to do for a quick second is I have a few albums on my NAS. I'm going to grab those. I'm just going to put like 1 or 2 songs to compare the audio quality. USB stick is a little bit fat. We'll use the USB-A. This Belkin one is USB-A and C. There we go. Plug it into my keyboard. And let's go to open a new tab so I can open my NAS. Backups NAS, music folder. Let's see, what do I want to put? Just for a test. Let's just grab a couple songs here. I know what we can do. We'll put a couple of my long mixes from DJ Mabel. Another Twitch streamer, by the way. Ubuntu is draining battery faster, so you install Windows 11. Huh. Well, Ubuntu is not the greatest one. I don't know why a lot of people still go and install that for desktops when there's much better Linuxes out there for desktop. Like, I like Pop OS. Admittedly, there's still, you know, more optimizations that can be done in terms of power for Linux, but it's still great. This is kind of nice where the power button here doesn't really turn it off. It just turns the screen off, so you can conserve it and kind of lock it down. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I like the little translucent case here. I think they, I think this is polycarbonate. It's injection molded. It is not 3D printed. No, or this is CNC'd. I think it's CNC'd. I will definitely crack it open later. Alright. Let's, open that up. Now, there is an application I'll be using to go through my audio later. Beats. Which is a command line tool you can use on Mac, Windows, or Linux, which helps with the metadata and tagging and all of that stuff. Okay, so let's open the folder. Hold up. Come on. Let's see, storage. I'm gonna have to play with this. I wonder if it doesn't like the fact that, I wonder if it's formatted as exFAT because it's such a large disk. Let's see. Rate my IT pickup line. What you got, Wolf? You got a boo-boo on the top part of your forehead. No, I think it's just light. What earphones you got? I have, Timeless AE by 7 Hertz. I'll show those in 1 second. I am just trying to figure out, let's see. Curious. Yep, it's formatted as exFAT, so I'm wondering if I just have to go to disks, and then format the disk. Okay, so we're gonna remove that partition. We're gonna add a partition, and Tangara, we'll just name it. Create. It's gonna format that. Then I gotta drop the music back in. Yeah, I need to use Beats on my audiobooks because they're out of order. Yeah, it seems to be a great piece of software. A lot of people have been recommending to me to do those kind of things, so, yeah, alright, let's see. Now, backups NAS. Let's go to my music. Let's grab DJ Mabel again. Having a regular FAT file system won't be an issue because we're not expected to have files larger than 4 gigabytes. Like, if you have an audio file that's larger than 4 gigabytes, you got bigger issues, buddy. And then eventually I'll load up all my other music. Alright, let's see. It's loading. It's going to take about 30 more seconds, 15 seconds. That's the weird thing when you use a FAT file system. It's just not the fastest thing. But there we go. It's loading. It's loading. It's loading. Alright, let's see. Bro. How about you quit spamming the chat? I don't mind people chatting. That's what we're here for, but, like, spamming the chat, jeez. Alright, so that's loaded up. Let's eject that safely. And we'll put this in. Okay, why is it still not showing? Okay, let's see if I can power. That's a loss for fast charging, too. Interesting. Here's what I'm curious about. Alright, let's see. They have a firmware update, maybe? Tangara firmware. Releases. They released a new. They have, what is it? Yep. After selecting flash, copy the new UF2 onto the USB drive that appears. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so there is a new firmware. That might explain it. All right. Because we got one of the original, because this is on 1.0, so we're going to need, the latest is 1.1.2. Hey, Patrick, how's it going? And I want to say it's this guy right here. Okay. CR docs for instructions. Oh, the companion app. So there is a companion app. So, oh, there's a flat pack. Makes me wonder if we go to Flat Hub. At it all, bro. Just getting home from work. Hope you're doing well. Just been busy. Just been busy as hell. You know how it is. You get older and don't have any fun time to do fun shit. Okay, so we will just grab that. What's this? Oh, Tangara CLI. So, 1 second. Can grab the flat pack here. So they don't have it to Flat Hub. Flat pack locally. So this will be the first time I've actually done it without going to Flat Hub because I'm lazy. Oh, is that it? That it? Okay, CD downloads. Flat pack, in style, Tangara companion, flat pack. Required runtime. We're gonna install that. And yeah. Did you speak about DeepSeek? Yes. I've had a couple of videos talking about it. I've had one talking about the news of it, 2 talking about how to use it. Last stream I showed you me using LM Studio for a few different LLMs, but there's a TikTok video showing that, and I will have a YouTube video as well, so if anyone needs to refer back to it, I'll be doing that. I'm trying to remake a lot of content into YouTube just because primarily the issue is they don't TikTok is shit to search on. Like, you'll be like, hey, this is a great video, and then you scroll on and you never see it again. And then, you know, if you want to find that video from your creator, they've created so much other content that you can't really search through it, whereas YouTube you can. Use Beats. Can you send the link to download it? Beats is Beets. It's a Python tool. Just type Beats Python. I'll share it in the Discord once I actually get around to tinkering with it. Chief Geek, love your content. Chief Geek, I'm building a C2 with AI. Cross-platform implants still undetectable. No virus total. And it has encrypted comms. CLI with centralized config. It simplifies pen testing. Integrates tons of tools via Git and is GPL licensed. I put a lot of effort into it, but it's flying under the radar. What's your advice to mature this project? Further, thank you. Thanks. The thing is really just get onto social media and share it. The 2 biggest communities right now is if you're wanting to get it out there, is Blue Sky and Mastodon. Mastodon, you'll find your very, very techie people. Blue Sky will have some of the more tech people. InfoSec Twitter has pretty much died. So those are great places. You know, and feel free to share the GitHub as well in my Discord. There's plenty of people in there that'll be interested. I know I got a few pen testers in there. So, I think there's definitely opportunity for a few things. Okay, so now we got the Tangara companion. Been trying to study for Security Plus. Is it really this hard? The honest truth, I don't have a Security Plus. I got a CISSP. My CISSP is my only cert. Go big or go home, I guess. Hey! It sees it out the box. Is Salesforce a good path if you're trying to get into cyber? Salesforce is more a marketing software than really cyber, although some people make entire careers and all that out of Salesforce. Like, I've used Salesforce. I've set it up for people in the past, but in and of itself, it's not really going to be a cybersecurity path. Yep, Pi Project Beats. That's the one, Vampire. That's exactly the one. What's your go-to laptop for Linux? I'm in need of a Linux laptop. System 76 is what I have, and then I'm looking at a Tuxedo computer for my next laptop. And, hold on one second. And then, what was the other one? Shit. Brain fart. I have a Purism Librem 14, which is my security laptop, but I don't recommend anyone really going and buying that right now. I mean, it's okay, don't get me wrong, I love mine, but it's still an older CPU, it's only on Intel 10th gen. Sales for, okay, you want to act with, what the, no. For a second, I was like, you want to hack with me? No. It's... buddy. We're ethical hackers. Let me see. So, let's, drop this into opt. We'll get, make a folder for Tangara. Drop the firmware there. And... let me see... here we go. Let's flash this. Okay, so we're officially flashing the Tangara right now to the latest firmware with their little companion app. They also have a little Lua console there. All right. So, let's get this going. Okay, now it's writing lua.bin. I don't know how long this is going to take. Well, it's probably going to take about 2 or 3 minutes if it's anything like an iPod. But it's only got, what, 8 megabytes of, Alright. Flash is complete. She's turning back on. Yep, this is looking much better. Now we have a more full-featured thing. Okay, so it's going by unknown artist. Now it's actually seeing the flash drive. Alright, so let's see how she sounds. How much RAM did the original iPod have? I want to say 16 megabytes. All right, let's see how this goes. Let's see how this sounds. Can you upgrade the RAM on the device you have? This? No. Let's see how this sounds. Hold up. Because I'm so used to the iPod, so I know this sounds. I do like the fact that you have actual buttons for the volume. Oh, this is nice. hell are you going on TikTok? Bro, what did I say about spamming chat like that? Nobody's even listening to you. What are you going on? Get a Zune. The problem is both the Zune and the iPod aren't supported anymore. So I wanted to try something open source. Bro, take the tinfoil hat off. No one's talking to you. What you think about DeepSeek? It's an interesting piece of software. So that, it's an interesting, well, let me put it this way. It's interesting that it's basically cratered the entire tech market here so that we can, actually see what the real value is. But the real power is that DeepSeek locally is more advantageous because, you should set it up locally. I've already had a couple videos showing how to set it up locally. Last stream we were playing with LM Studio to see how well it works and everything like that. Yeah, this is nice. I'm gonna have to play with this audio player some more. It's definitely got a more interesting interface, but in a way, it makes more sense than the iPod. It's gonna take some getting used to. But I will tell you, if you do get this out the box, you're gonna have to, use this. The interesting thing is that the iPod had an interesting bug with my long DJ mixes that sometimes, after like 7 minutes, the iPod would freeze. So, like, mixes that were about an hour long or so wouldn't work well. Why do you think we as humans agree with sharing our data with companies such as Meta, OpenAI? The honest truth is, we ourselves look at something as free, and a lot of humans have been conditioned to understand that their data is not of any value. So when they think, hey, I can just click the button and all you need is a little data, people don't really care about privacy or much anymore. When I grew up, the understanding was, like, don't put your information out there and, things like that. There's crazy people on the internet. But now we've become so desensitized and normalized to understand, like, oh, you're just on the internet, you're going to give your data no matter what, that we just give it away for free and don't realize that's the most valuable thing to any company to have. Big Orange Man say China is bad. He's been saying that for years. The problem is with the boomer and the silent generation, they grew up in the Red Scare, that they still see China and Russia in the goggles of the Red Scare with communism and everything like that. That's where they're coming from, but they don't seem to understand. Mao's China is gone, and Stalin and all that is gone, and while they may not be the most favorable countries, oh, thank you, when it comes to, privacy and all those different rights, they don't understand that is a totally different era. Our parents grew up with atomic scares and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, iPod support on Linux back in the day. So you used to be able to use an iPod with, what was it, a software. There was a GNOME music player, I think it was called Rhythmbox. We used to be able to drag and drop music into it pretty easily. And then you could actually load an aftermarket firmware called, I think it's Rockbox, and allow it to be used even more easily. With different things. I have the stock firmware on my iPod. But, yeah, so there definitely was support back in the day for iPod, because you have to remember, the very first iPod was Apple only, and then they quickly saw the folly of only having it for Apple, then opened up the support. The very first iPod, I think, was Firewire. I never got to use that, but I remember my cousin had one, and then later generations supported USB, and then became natively USB. And then FireWire was only for charging, and then FireWire got dropped altogether. And Linux support obviously came about because the iPod was an extremely sleek and svelte music player, especially when you compare it to the others at the time. Yes, I hear that there's people that, like the Zune and all that, and technically speaking, the Zune was a better music player, but it just didn't have the appeal of the iPod. And I think Microsoft attempting it was a little bit too little too late. Microsoft in the 2000s missed a lot of opportunities. They didn't get into smartphones soon enough, so they actually ended up losing the game to Google and Apple. They got into music players too late, even though they had some of the better stuff. So the Zune went out. But yeah. Opinion on Proton now? What? Because everyone's so bent over backwards over the fact that, someone made an opinion on things? So everyone's reading too much into that. They vocally supported Trump. No, they didn't. It was an opinion they made, and the reality is Proton... So, I can say a million different things. The reality is Proton's got a proven history of actually being impartial. They made an opinion. People are allowed to have opinions. But at the end of the day, here's the reality. If y'all are really that scared about Proton, oh my god, Proton, they're reading our email, they're supporting Trump. No, they're a Swiss company. It's totally different. So what, you're going to go to other companies that then the U.S. could have easier access to, subpoena, whereas they have to go through a Swiss court? It's much ado about nothing. They're not really supporting him. They made an opinion about Republicans and Democrats with big tech and all that. Starting IT career at 29. Am I too late, old chief? No. No, I'm not why the fuck do you go on an opinion of, oh no, I have an opinion that company has an impartial thing and everyone's getting bent over backwards about one thing? Here's the reality. If you were to actually look into every single person's opinion they've had at some point in time, you'd go scorched earth. Dude. I'm tired of you spamming the chat, going on with your, insanity of different things. Move on. Whatever you are. Just... Sometimes you get people with so much tinfoil hat. Not you, the Proton dude. You're okay. But there's another dude that was just spamming chat, and I gave him 2 warnings. And then he came back, and then it's like, no. Again, it matters whose opinion it is and not what opinion it is. It's always a bad sign. What's your schedule like for work-study balance? Generally, I speak at least, I work, 40 to 50 hours a week, depends on what's going on. Maybe I'm on call, things like that happen. And I try to spend at least 2 to 10 hours a week studying cybersecurity, whether it's tinkering, whether it's reading the news, whether it's catching up on new topics, or, things like that. And then I try to at least spend a couple of hours also teaching other people, whether it be through my content, being in my Discord, things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it. You're never too old to get into IT as long as you keep learning the field. That's the most important thing, Vampire. You're right. It's not about how old you are, it's your mindset and willingness to learn. Because if you're just coming into IT and cybersecurity with the understanding of, I'm just going to go into this job, I'm going to do my 9 to 5, and then I'm going to clock out. No, you're not going to make it in this field. You got to continually educate, improve yourself. The field changes constantly. So, yeah. Opinions are great if they're mine and only mine. Yeah. I don't support Trump. There's no logical person that can really support Trump, especially in the cybersecurity space, knowing the steps he's taken back to disband the Cyber Safety Review Board just as a start. And, yeah, no. Appreciate your content, BTW. I wasn't trying to start an argument. I was just wondering your opinion. No, you're fine, Random. I'm sorry if I sounded pissy. There was another person that kept spamming the chat into the TikTok chat, and I gave them 3 chances to be like, dude, no one's trying to compromise you. I'm here just tinkering, and, you know, yeah. So sorry if I sounded a little pissy. Why is Facebook banning people who mention Linux? So I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Facebook Meta, they have a problem with incompetence. Their moderation systems have been bullshit for years. They've banned so many people and restricted so much content that wasn't even supposed to be restricted per their own guideline. Meta doesn't know how to innovate. The reality is they're not attracting the best and brightest talent really anymore. And I don't understand what the specifics were to ban Linux, but I can tell you it wasn't intentional. It was definitely a situation of they messed up. Because here's the reality. Meta uses Linux. They heavily use Linux. Their entire backend is Linux. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They use Linux. They've contributed to Linux projects. I think, what was it? They created React, if I'm not mistaken, which a lot of people use. They've made some open source stuff. They use Linux heavily. That was someone that made a change in the moderation system that just bit them in the butt. So, I don't think it was malicious. I think it was more of a case of incompetence. We stopped posting on Facebook Meta during the pandemic, and it's unlikely that I will ever go back. Honestly, I deleted my Facebook years ago. I didn't care about it. I didn't care for Facebook, as well as the fact that everyone on Facebook was just farting into the wind with their stupid opinions, and it no longer was like, hey, look, here's my family outing. Hey, look, here's our baby was born. It was people just spewing political opinions and getting into fights, and it got extremely toxic. And it was one of those days where I woke up and I was just like, I got on Facebook and I sat back and I'm like, when's the last time I've been on this app and I've actually enjoyed it? I came to TikTok for dog videos. Opinions on Wayland from a cybersecurity perspective. Overall, it's a good choice. X11 is an old piece of software that's a holdover from many years ago. It wasn't really designed around security, whereas Wayland is designed with modern sensibilities, and security being one of them. How does Linux work with gaming? Pretty well. The only issues I've had with gaming on Linux have to specifically do with crappy-ass devs that do kernel-level anti-cheat. I thought they said it was a cybersecurity risk. No, they falsely claimed it's a cybersecurity risk. Linux is far from the only time I've seen a false positive with, things being labeled a cybersecurity risk. There's been many false positives. But back to the gaming on Linux thing. Yeah, there's a package called Proton, which is developed by Valve. Yes, the same makers of Steam. That makes gaming on Linux work. And they're working now on trying to get an actual emulation working so that you can play x86 titles, you know, things that are made for Intel and AMD CPUs, working on ARM CPUs. So that'll be interesting. So they've actively been working towards that. I know they gave a bunch of money to the Arch Foundation to be able to fund that. So they may be able to do cross architecture gaming better than Windows does, because Windows has, like, I think their kind of emulation to work x86 stuff on Snapdragon and stuff like that, but it doesn't work that well. So it'll be interesting. Which would be more of a need, AI security engineering or exploit development? Depends on the use case, but I think AI is overhyped for a lot of things, and DeepSeek has proven that. I was talking to my mom earlier, and my dad had a FAFO moment from the Fed freeze. Yeah, I've been noticing a lot of people are getting the FAFO or FAFO, however you want to call that, because they're waking up to the reality that the schmucko in chief cares more about doing all this stupid shit than lowering costs of groceries and all his actual promises. But you know what's interesting? He's trying to cause chaos, but not in ways that would actually benefit him. He's just causing chaos. Who wins in a fist fight? Pac-Man or Apt? They're both just package managers that work in different ways. It's more of a personal preference between the two. Pac-Man has its advantages. Apt has its advantages. It's more just a difference of use case. They're both good solutions. I've used Pac-Man when I was dealing with Manjaro. Because I had Manjaro on my Pinebook Pro for a little while. Pac-Man, because I use Arch, by the way. And just to make this very clear, you don't have to ask someone if they use Arch. They will tell you. The same way as a vegan will tell you before you ask them. The same way as a crypto bro will tell you about that they were a crypto bro before that. CrossFit, same thing. What do you think about this immigration issue? How would tech fix it? It's not a tech issue. It's not a technology issue. It's a regulatory and legislative issue. It's not tech won't really help immigration in these kind of things. Hyper-V is not truly Type 1, is it? No, it's a Type 2. Although you can have it run a Type 1. The only difference between Type 2 and Type 1 is that Type 1 sits above the operating system and, you know, uses the OS for abstraction and things like that. I may be using the terms incorrectly. Type 2 interfaces directly with the hardware. No, Hyper-V is a Type 2. No, it is a Type 1. Yeah, I flipped it. Why did I flip that? Probably because I'm tired. Yeah, I flipped it. Will GRC always be a need? Yes, especially in businesses as it grows up, as businesses start maturing and everything, because the world's going to require more compliance with different things. So if you're dealing with the EU, you have to deal with GDPR. If you're dealing with South Africa, you have to deal with POPIA, I think it is. If you're dealing with Canada, it's PIPEDA. If you're dealing with China, you're dealing with PIPL. I'm sure at some point when America actually pulls its head out of its ass and actually gets some decent leadership, we'll have some regulations as well. So, can we see the shirt design? Yeah. This was my shirt that I made when I went to DEF CON 32 recently. What is more secure, iOS or Android? Depends on the scenario. If you're just talking about getting a phone out the box and using it right away without any customization, iOS is more secure. If you're talking about you have a device that, you know, you can then load a custom firmware on, a Pixel with Graphene OS or Calyx is going to be better. Graphene OS is slightly more secure because of how they do the whole Play Store sandboxing and everything versus the micro G aspects of it. But yeah. Where can I find more Tux merch? Well, I have my own store. Shop.chiefgeek3d.com. I've got little merch out there. Part of the revenue goes to my graphic designer. She gets a chunk of that. What would decent leadership look like? Well, not what we currently have now. What would decent leadership be would be a government that is actually for the people, by the people. Someone that actually is representative of us. Someone that actually can relate to the daily struggles of what we have and not these oligarchs that are billionaires that don't give a crap about us and don't actually have the life experience that we have. None of the people, let me put this in the perspective here. Almost none of the people around Trump have ever had to worry about where their next meal is coming from. Almost none of the people there have ever understood what poverty actually looks like. Think about that. Have we ever had that? Probably not since Kennedy. Yeah, I know LBJ signed civil rights and all that, but LBJ, if you actually look into him, was an actual asshole, too. He actually literally peed on Secret Service guards and stuff like that. There's actual stories of that. Yeah, I'd say, like, Kennedy, maybe Carter, that administration, even though I know they went through the, not hyperinflation, but there was definitely a lot of inflation. Isn't Samsung Knox securing my phone? Well, Samsung Knox, yes, it's secure in the aspects of that, but Samsung snitches on you a lot. It's chatty. Android stock does a lot of telemetry on you. If you actually analyze the average Android phone, how noisy it is on a network. I think I've even seen developers on TikTok talk about this, but Android will send megabytes of data, whereas Apple will send kilobytes of data. It's definitely more private. Yes, Samsung can be a little bit more secure, but... And I'm saying this is a guy that uses a Samsung to record my content. Oh, I thought tech leadership. Oh, tech leadership, the most recent... The best tech leadership we actually had in this country was Jen Easterly. I have to say, she was probably one of the best heads of tech we've had in this country in a minute. She oversaw CISA up until Donald Trump's election. Well, inauguration. She oversaw CISA during the Biden administration. Go look her up. She's got amazing accolades. She did a wonderful job of reinforcing a lot of the infrastructure around America. Unfortunately, CISA at best can advise on things when it comes to regulations. It's up to Congress to actually pass the laws when it comes to digital rights and all that. What's up, Bedrock? How you doing over on the Twitch side of things? Couldn't the same thing be said about everyone in the Western world? We kind of figured out the food is usually not the problem. What do you mean with that? Sorry, I'm a little lost in that. Here's an Android beta, Pixel 7 Pro. Huh. Security engineering or ethical hacking will give you more opportunities. Well, it can, potentially. I got into security engineering through way of learning about networking, and I like the whole firewall defense and tinkering and configuring a lot of that stuff, so you can get more jobs. The reality when it comes to ethical hacking, like red team penetration testing, is, what's the word? Shit. Trying to formulate the words in my head. A lot of ethical hacking, penetration testing, and all that is usually done by smaller outfits from what I've seen. Smaller companies. A lot of it can honestly just be contract or gig work. You're not going to find a lot of companies that hire their own pen testing teams. Those are few and far between. Soon I'm changing displays, sadly, so we'll switch the phone to Graphene OS. Oh yeah, nice. Can you use a 1 terabyte SD card with a Raspberry Pi 5? Yeah. Computer science or computer engineering? That's a personal preference. I'm not really sure on what... I mean, computer science is kind of the overall study of computers and the sciences there. Engineering is kind of like 6 half of the other, unless someone wants to correct me, but... A lot of the tech fields, you have to understand there's so many different avenues you can go through in IT and cybersecurity that there's so much opportunity if you know where to look. Even in cybersecurity, you've got like penetration testing, you've got cybersecurity engineering, you've got networking, you've got governance, risk, and compliance, you've got identity and access management. There's like, I'm probably forgetting a couple of fields in there, to be honest. But there's so many aspects of cybersecurity. And cybersecurity doesn't always have to be digital. If you go look at Deviant Olam, for example, he pretty much is physical security. Lockpicking, under-the-door tools, physical penetration of facilities. Because yes, that is an aspect of it. We have to consider the security of the data centers, the security of physically accessing the machines. Because we all know, once you have physical access to a machine, it's pretty much game over. Bill, come up with a new opinion other than Whitaker is 100% controlled opposition. I've literally seen you post that like at least half a dozen times over, probably at least 3 or 4 times on different things. Why don't you quit and go full-time on Twitch? Because I actually like working in the field. And I like working in the field. I like actually doing cybersecurity and everything like that. I don't think I could do Twitch as a full-time thing. I could maybe do YouTube videos on top of it and everything like that, but I don't see myself becoming a full-time Twitch streamer. Plus, the reality is, I've seen this pipeline with a lot of Twitch streamers that do that and become full-time. They lose touch with the world. I don't want to do that. Because you can already see there's, like, quite a few Twitch streamers that the further they get into it, it's like, bro, you have your head up your ass, go and touch grass. Y'all know there's some of those streamers out there and all that. You know who I'm talking about. You can probably think of a few off the top of your head. I like being in the field, doing my thing. Why do you go so hard and have System 76? Aren't they based in America? I go hard on them because they actually contribute to the open source community. They make the Pop! OS operating system. They do a lot of good things for Linux overall for the average everyday person, and I will support any company that brings Linux, more direct Linux support for hardware and everything. Do you know how nice it is when I've had an issue with Pop! OS that I actually got to reach out to them and we're working on troubleshooting the Linux side of things and find out, oh, it is an actual bug in the system versus you contact HP or Dell. Well, HP is they're a little bit better about this, but for the most part, if you get a laptop that they sell with Windows, they're just going to tell you, sorry, we don't support Linux on this. Go install Windows. That's why. Certs are certainly not cheap. The trick is everyone focuses too much on getting certs to get the job, when in reality, work on getting the job that will pay for your certs. I didn't get my CISSP until I got my job. And then my job, literally one of my coworkers was like, hey, I want to go for my CISSP. Can you pay for that? And I was literally in the same meeting, and I just lean over and say, can I get on that? And they paid for my classes. They paid for my cert. So a lot of jobs will do that. Even entry-level jobs will honestly pay to invest in you. Computer engineering is a subset of computer science. It's more like an electronic engineer, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, that makes sense. My PC got full of Olama and DeepSeek models, so I had to delete them. That'll happen. That'll happen. What distro do I use? I use Pop! OS for my daily Linux and gaming on Linux, and then I use Cubes OS for my little security stuff, and then if I ever want to tinker around with penetration testing, I usually use Parrot OS. I don't do too much pen testing and offensive stuff. I'm more on the blue team side of things, so I'm usually studying zero trust network access and methodologies around that and understanding what's out in the wild and all those kind of things. Have you heard about Guantanamo? Yeah, like how they're trying to basically turn that into a a kind of camp that I really have to concentrate on. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I'm familiar with what's going on. It's a shame of what they're trying to do. It's unfortunate. Today you redeemed my damn Pikachu hat. Who do you recommend? Why do you recommend Hyper-V? I found it does not support packet sniffing. Because it's a it allows you to interface directly with the hardware, so if you're actually it can be a lot more efficient. And yeah, it's the same reason as I'll recommend KVM QEMU or Zen Hypervisor. They get lower on the hardware. That's what the points are for, Sikne. That's why you redeem the points. I put the hat on, okay? What degree do you recommend to be a network engineer? You don't need a degree to be a network engineer. It's one of those, it's nice to have, but it's not a need to have. I would focus more on networking concepts. Like I've said, you can study the PFSense manual to get you there. You can maybe, put a little bit of money into a Network Plus certificate. If you want to go deep down in the Cisco route, you got your CCNA cert. But you don't necessarily need a degree. And I don't generally recommend people just go look towards college degrees if you're in America, because they are very expensive. Now, if you're outside the States, yeah, it makes sense because, most countries actually will pay for your education. So the honest truth is, when it comes to college as a whole, you have to do kind of a cost-benefit analysis. Before you go in to get the degree, figure out how much that degree is going to cost you and how long it's going to take to pay off that degree. What are your monthly payments possibly going to look like? There's ways you can actually calculate that math before even taking out the loans and everything. If it happens to benefit your career long-term, sure. But for the most part, especially right now with how expensive degrees are, it doesn't make sense for a lot of people. And I went to college, actually technically the trade school side of things, to be an electrician. And I did low voltage stuff and learned a lot of that from there, and then pivoted back into tech, even though I grew up with a lot of tech and tinkering and Linux and stuff like that. Primarily because I realized I really like air conditioning and I don't like ladder work. Yeah. Do you have dropped frames? Not as of right now. Nothing's dropping. Is open source. Does Hyper-V support USB pass-through? Yes. Jobs pay for certs, usually $5K a year towards certs and classes. It depends on the company, but yeah, that sounds about right. Computer engineering is hardware, computer science is software. That makes sense. I just haven't run across too many computer engineers that are doing hardware stuff unless they're at the DEF CON meetups or DEF CON themselves. It's just like we're in two different areas of the side of things. I don't get pen testing. Bricks are free. No, it's wrenches. Haven't you seen that XKCD comic? Hold on. Here, let's pull up this comic. There we go. I love XKCD. If you've never seen these are great. A crypto nerd's imagination. His laptop's encrypted. Let's build $1 million cluster to crack it. No good. It's 4096-bit RSA. Blast, our evil plan is foiled. What would actually happen? His laptop's encrypted. Drug him and hit him with this $5 wrench until he tells us the password. Got it. Who is your favorite anime character? Definitely would be Motoko Kusanage from Ghost in the Shell. I love Ghost in the Shell, the anime as a whole, because of the philosophical questions it brings about on what is a human. And it's interesting that I think that anime came out in, what, the 1990s? And it still holds up today, that we're asking a lot of these questions. Yeah, it's really interesting. Reminder, most people on record that to have traveled on ship was 16,000 people. That was the Queen Mary after World War II. Damn! That's a lot of people. One boat. Did 2 redeems. Oh, yeah. Where is the dog treat? There we go. Yo, Ari, Barack. Arya. Come here, Ari. Hey, go boy. Hey, no, you got yours. Good boy. Isn't it good dog? Remember when he was a tiny little puppy? Hey, yeah, Papa. Dude, you got yours. Hey, boy. Ah. Really? I got 2 dogs now. The other one's underneath the desk. You. And this one freaking stole my night guard. I have to go get a new night guard now. Because you chewed my night guard, you fucking asshole. No, I got enough dogs. 2 dogs is enough. Ooh. Your nails gotta get done though, buddy. Okay. Good boy. Alright. Down. Ah. I got your nails done. Yo, I just installed Arch. I'm so lost. Well, if you kind of don't understand how to use Arch, don't use Arch. Especially if you're newer to Linux, don't use Arch. Arch and Cubes are like the 2 ones I don't recommend to anyone until you actually have experience and understanding underneath your belt. That's The Departed. Pantheon was inspired by Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell inspired a lot of different good storylines out there because it was just so ahead of its time. And then what was the other one? I think around the same time, was it Akira? Akira spawned a lot of the cyberpunk things. Who wants to be helped? The dude cuddles me every night. These dogs are spoiled. They are spoiled rotten. Akira's back in the 80s? Damn. Did not realize it was the 80s. I must have forgotten that. But, yeah. There were so many, the 80s and 90s, I think, was like the golden age of a lot of this, like, sci-fi tech movies and TV shows. Because I feel like after the 2000s, a lot of the imagination kind of went out the window. That's my opinion. You can agree or disagree with me. I'm sure there are a few other things out there, but like the 90s like had really, really great sci-fi. And it feels like the 2000s, a lot of the mentions of sci-fi were so sci-fi that they didn't even go in the realm of reality. And what is with Hollywood? Sorry. What is with Hollywood going to the extremes when it comes to cybersecurity and technology that it goes in, like, they have to bend the reality so much to make it fit the story, and they're so afraid of accurate information. Like, the first season of Mr. Robot, probably one of the better things they've ever done in terms of cybersecurity, and then second season, like, no, it's too accurate. People are learning things too much. And, like, stop, and they had to, like, dumb it down and not be as much. Yeah. What about Gen 2? So Gen 2 used to make sense years ago if you wanted to compile to get a fast machine. But the honest truth is, the amount of time you're going to spend compiling the software from scratch to make your machine faster is going to cost more than the amount of time you would probably save from it being faster. Mr. Robot hacking with that update, yeah. Well, originally they used to show, like, Kali and, you know, like, all these things. Like, I remember when, I'd have to say it's, like, it's been a while since I've seen Mr. Robot, but I remember, like, the first season, I gave it, like, a B plus in terms of the tech side of things. They definitely took some liberties with a few parts, as all Hollywood does. But it was probably one of the more in the realistic realm. Have you ever tried NixOS? I haven't gotten around to trying it. The honest truth is, I've distro hopped so much many years ago that after a while, you're just like, hey, this shit works. I actually work on it. I don't distro hop as much anymore. Because I actually have, like, workflows and stuff I deal with now that eventually I'll get around to tinkering with it. But Cubes is, like, I've been using Cubes for several years. So it's kind of like I'm, you know, used to a few things now. Would try Cubes for the Vine, but not until I figure out Arch. Yeah. Reminder, a lot of American cyberpunk was scared of Japan. Really? Japanese cyberpunk is different. Yeah. Although it's kind of interesting how we kind of share a lot of the same roots for different things. Opinion on Dune, though. The honest truth is, I haven't seen Dune. I know, I've committed the travesty of all nerds everywhere. But the honest truth is, I haven't, had the time, and I keep meaning to, you know, watch it and all that. I hear good things, but it's also like, you gotta dedicate some time to it, and yeah, I just haven't gotten around to it. Compiling a web server from scratch, no thank you. Compiling PHP from source, no thanks. Throw has to do with anything? What are you going on about? Heard about China already in our systems and possibly getting close to shedding our grid? What, you talking about the whole Salt Typhoon thing and all that? Here's the reality. We as the USA get pissed off that other countries are doing to us what we've Sorry, wrong pipe. We, as a country in the USA, hilariously get pissed off at other countries doing the same thing to us that we historically did to another country. We've messed with other people's grids. We've messed with other people's telecoms. And all of this. Why is DDR4 still so damn expensive? Well, one thing is, supply chains were really hit hard with the whole COVID thing. Two, I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's kind of like a potential trade war looming. There's not many people that make the memory chips and everything there. And most of it, if I recall, is made in Taiwan. Yeah. So, And here's the thing, even before COVID, a lot of our supply chain was very stretched thin. And DDR4 is cheaper now, and DDR5 is definitely more expensive. Yeah, DDR4 ain't too bad. DDR5, yeah, it's very expensive to get DDR5, last I checked. Wanted to get more RAM for virtual machines. Yeah, RAM's been pretty expensive for a few years. It kind of bites. Oh, guess the number 2 game on Steam now. What's the number 2 game? China's had spyware on Lenovo laptops years ago. Yeah. Yep. There was the whole, like, fiasco around... Well, I don't know if it was really, like, spyware, but... There were apparently, like, supply chains and stuff like that that got compromised, but, people forget when Sony used to install malware and put a rootkit on your system just by playing their music CDs. Like, seriously, you'd buy a CD from Sony for whatever song that Sony happened to distribute. They'd actually put a rootkit on the CD years ago as an anti-piracy measure. The reality is, foreign companies have been putting spyware in all sorts of computers for years. I remember that as a kid. Where you see the Mac meltdown thing? Which one? They've melted down for years. They've been overheating. Was there anything in specific? Hello Kitty Island Adventure. That's the number 2 game? You don't know about the story? Here. Hold on. Here we go. From the Free Software Foundation Europe. This was... Here we go. We'll go right to the blog. From archive.org. This was in 2005. A security researcher had discovered Sony rootkits and digital rights management gone too far. And he talks about how Sony was putting a rootkit that would install on Windows computers for digital rights management in an attempt to be anti-piracy. It was a big issue. Wow. I forgot what the browser looked like back then. I was like, wow, that's a blast from the past. But yeah. Sony actually did this. You see, showing the registry, all of that stuff. Yeah, Sony did that years ago as an anti-piracy measure. How is that legal for Sony? I don't know. I don't think they ever got sued as part of it. But, let me see. Hold on. Did Sony get sued? Following public outcry, government investigations, and class action lawsuits. Okay, so I was wrong. In 2005 and 2006, Sony BMG partially addressed the scandal and consumer settlements, a recall of about 10% of the affected CDs, and the suspension of CD copy protection efforts in early 2007. This is in part why a lot of companies started backing off on the anti-piracy measures, because it was costing them more to try to protect their IP than they were saving probably from the people that was pirating. It was a totally different time, yeah. Totally different times. Opinion on DeepSeek. I think it's great that it's disrupting a lot of the AI industry right now into understanding that, well, the advantage of DeepSeek isn't that they are another app. Let me make this very clear. For those of you that are like, oh, DeepSeek, I just install the app on my phone and then I use that. No. That's no better than ChatGPT. I'm not talking about that. The advantage of DeepSeek is that we can locally run it. The democratization of artificial intelligence, or let's be correct with it, large language models, because it's AI is a buzzword term. It's a large language model. Because now I can easily run it on my own machine to do whatever I want. So let's go into my opt folder, just show you, for example. We're opening LM Studio. So you can see, been using different models here. This was using Llama 3.2, for example, I was playing with. So now we can have all these different models here. So like DeepSeek R1 Distill Llama 8B. Still not, the best out there. I'd probably need some more hardware to get like the 671B and stuff working. Give me a poem about the Vietnam War. Let's see if it does that. Let's see what it does. Here, let's actually show what it's thinking. And you can see, like, look how fast this is rendering with an NVIDIA 3070 GPU. It's using half of my 5950X. But look how little RAM it's using. Look at that. You got a poem about the Vietnam War. And the advantage of DeepSeek is basically showing that people can have access to the same things and do it a lot more locally and efficient. Now, admittedly, you need to get like the larger models to do very, very accurate things, but you need more resources for it. Big tech wants to keep you as a customer perpetually. And how they do that is by either you continually giving them your data, which then allows them to sell that data to market, because they sell that to data brokers and everything like that to make money on the back end. Or two, you directly pay them every single, month for a subscription or whatever. But now, when you take an open source model and we can run it ourselves, and not only that, you have corporations that they're spending tens of thousands of dollars a month for some of these subscriptions with ChatGPT and OpenAI, depending on the model they use. And they can actually host it inside their own enterprise and not have to perpetually give money to a company. That shifts the balance of power. So that's the amazing thing about DeepSeek and what it's done and how it's upended a lot of the tech industry. And it's also shown that, here's the funny thing as I explain to people. The problem is America, the United States, wasn't competing against China, but China was competing against the USA. So I want you to think about that. Imagine if you are in a sport. Competition breeds better results. It pushes you to do better. It pushes you to strive for better results and improve yourself. If America's not in the mindset of we're competing, then you're not going to actually push yourself to be very creative and all of that. Whereas China, we forcefully made them more creative. We gave them a handicap to say, no, you can't have the latest hardware. So it makes them think more about how are we going to do this more efficiently. Whereas the US is of the opinion of, we just got to give them more hardware, give them more hardware, more hardware, more hardware, more hardware. But DeepSeek came out and said, yeah, what's Linux? It's just an open source operating system. There's Mac, Windows, Linux, FreeBSD. Those are the four big operating systems. Linux and FreeBSD are definitely what powers a lot of the internet in terms of the stuff that's hosted and all that. AI knock or nah. NVIDIA has some Jetsons. I don't know if you've seen these. They are interesting. I am interested in getting one eventually, because what I would like to do is get an Ollama model, host it locally, and then have it do whatever model. And if I can, run a Twitch chat bot through it. But you can get the NVIDIA Jetsons. They're just tough as hell to buy because everyone wants them. Hold on, that's not the one I was looking for. Let me get the right site. There we go. The Jetsons? Yeah. So, I want to get this guy right here, the Jetson Orin Nano Super Developer Kit. So if you look at this guy over here, let's open up the specs. AI performance of 65 trillion operations per second. So this is actually a good spec over here. If I remember... Let me check this out. I think it was close to an NVIDIA 3050 in terms of AI performance, if I'm not mistaken. Performance. No, it's a little bit better than the 3050. 3050 is benchmarked at, oh, wait, sorry. 3060 has about 100 trillion operations per second. Yeah, so it's about the range of an NVIDIA 3050 for this. It's about $250 for these little boards. They're nice. I honestly want to get one and 3D print a case, and I think it'd be nice for me to do some AI development. Oh, yeah. I guess their site's down. Haha. But yeah, these are nice. They also have a couple other ones, so you can get these. So, you can get, hold up, what is it? Give me 1 second. Let me remember what the platform is called. I think it's a Turing Pi? Yeah. I think it's this. So, yeah, you can do this. Okay. These Turing Pis right over here. So, these are compute modules, okay? So, imagine you get a Jetson Orin Nano. Now, you get one of these, like a Turing Pi boards, and you can stack on 4 different modules and have each one doing a different thing. So they have like these Turing RK1 little chips over here. So imagine you can slap that in. You've got, I wonder what the specs are of this. But yeah, you can do an NVIDIA Jetson, and then basically just have like different nodes here. This would be really cool as an AI platform. Of course, you're going to be spending probably close to a G to fill it out, including the board itself. But there's a lot of capability there to use a Turing Pi. Or you can even get the... Is that the Mini ITX? No, they changed some stuff. Sorry. But yeah, this is one thing I would love to get is the Turing Pi. Slap in a couple of these Turing RK1s. Imagine if I got a Turing RK1. 32 gigs of, I think that's memory in there. And that would actually be, like, really great for, like, running, little computer to do just general compute and everything. So imagine I got that. I could have my system information event monitoring system to just monitor my entire system. You know, my entire network and everything, like a Grafana dashboard, and then slap a couple more in. So I could actually have a cluster in here instead of having to buy multiple servers, big boys, and do that. That I think this would be really cool. Especially if I can slap 1 or 2 of these boys in. Now, this guy is $2,000 last I checked. And then, of course, you got this big boy over here, which is, you got these, like, industrial models and everything. They have cool stuff. Oh, you got this over here, the Orin NX. But anyway, you can get, like, you can mix and match the Jetsons and everything. If I had a little over $1,000 to blow for my home lab, for some upgrades, that's probably what I would be looking at. Some Jetson compute modules and, a Turing Pi. But yeah. Have you tried DeepSeek for coding? Its reasoning is superior to OpenAI. I have not tried it. Let's try. I have not tried it yet. I did use ChatGPT in the past for coding. So, let's see what we can do with this. I'm thinking. Give me a sec. Okay, I know what you're gonna do. Write me an AWS Lambda. To email hello world and terraform it in with OpenTofu. Let's see what it does. Now, we're going to be using DeepSeek R1 distilled Llama 8B. Let's see what it comes up with. I'm curious. Can I use AMD GPU for AI? I think you can. I don't see why you couldn't use the OpenCL stuff and over there. Of course, a lot of things are optimized for NVIDIA, so results may vary. Oh, it's going. It's going. Now, I purposely gave it a sort of simple Lambda, but made it more complex. Let's see what it does. Okay. So, define a variable for SendGrid. Oh, it's using SendGrid, getting fancy here. I'm gonna put a twist on it in a sec. I want to see what it's doing. Interesting that it's combining SendGrid with AWS, because logically, one would think to do AWS SES, simple email service. Terraform. It's got the IAM policy in there. I'm just skimming through it to see if it logically sounds right. I won't be able to test it, but it's got the API key for SendGrid, if I'm not mistaken. Wait, no. Yeah, SendGrid. Creates a zip file for the actual Lambda. Good. Lambda function, SendGrid. Create the API gateway. API key for the gateway. Create a S3 bucket. Why are you creating an S3 bucket? You don't need an S3 bucket for this. Unless it's trying to run it in... I gotta see how it's doing this. Okay, so the Lambda function code. You're doing JavaScript. Interesting choice. Function to send email. I'm not a JavaScript guy, so... you know, I can kind of understand it based on the code. I don't know if this is correct, because I normally would do this in Python. Because usually ChatGPT defaults to Python. That's why, I mean, it's interesting they went to JavaScript. Okay. US West. Okay. It's interesting it picked US West 2, instead of normally you would think a lot of things would default to US East 1. I normally use US East 2 if I'm going to do things. Geographically, it's just closer. SendGrid. Okay. And it gives us notes for the SendGrid. Replace SendGrid with AWS SES. Can you put the Jetson on a compute blade? I don't see why not. You've been playing Half-Life or something? I've been playing Wolfenstein. Okay. Lambda function. So this is a JavaScript to make it go with that. Oh, it's still going. It's still going. Replace the JavaScript with Python. Let's see. Heading out. See you later, Vampire. Thanks for hanging out. So I got sidetracked by Nightvor. It's Nightvor. Are you running KDE or what? I'm using GNOME. Budgeting? What about budgeting? Yeah. Pop OS? Yeah, I'm using Pop OS. The default language for web dev is used. Interesting choice. Yeah, I don't know why it would do that. Okay. Let's see. You see how much cleaner Python ends up being? Although kind of interested to merge that too, but okay. So Boto 3, yep, we got the Amazon Web Services. We've got the Lambda handler with the environment. Yeah, that sounds about right. Pretty impressive. Only Python can be implemented, okay? Python and Terraform. Yeah, I don't know why it defaulted to JavaScript. That was kind of weird. Normally, LLMs default to Python. At least in my experience. That was definitely a left field moment for me. I don't have to tell you. What are the benefits of Rust? So, I don't do much with Rust. I have friends that work with Rust. My understanding is that Rust is more secure and less likely to have memory leaks and memory issues. Because of the requirements it has around, I forget what, one of my friends who's a coder explained it to me. Because I don't deal much with Rust. But I do see a lot of use cases to move towards Rust instead of using C for a lot of things. You can pretty much get the same performance out of Rust. That is my understanding. Nightcore. Oh, okay. No, not a Rust dev. Rust seems to be able to work for many purposes and runs pretty fast, close to C. Yep, pretty much. I believe it was that Google said that they were able to reduce the amount of vulnerabilities related to memory because of Rust. Android vulnerability decrease Rust. I remember reading this. Here we go. Here we are. Google's shift to Rust programming cuts Android memory vulnerabilities by 68%. So this is a year-over-year decrease. With how many vulnerabilities that they've detected per year due to memory safety. So Rust allows a more secure environment. It seems like they're trying to get Linux to be only Rust. Yeah, that has been a heated battle, I've noticed, between the two. Can you explain how C, C++ is less safe, like what memory security is? It's a matter of memory leaks and having hard-coded requirements for what memory can and can't access. Whereas, are you familiar with the term memory leaks? Where if you don't set up garbage collection and stuff like that, please, if anyone does know more about this than me, please answer. This is definitely a part I'm a little bit weak on. I don't do too much in the coding of C and all that stuff. But my understanding is it does a lot better garbage collection. There's less memory leaks, which can lead to other issues and stuff like that. Because in order to have a secure C, C++ program, you must actually put those limits in. By default, it won't have those boundaries and stuff. You're writing a Discord bot in Python? Nice. Python's a nice language to deal with. I use Python a little bit more. I find it easier to understand. Nowadays, I'd have to say that AI is definitely doing the heavy lifting for a lot of my coding because it saves me a lot of time, and there's just a lot of complex functions that I do. That it works with. And I just want to get this out of the way. ChatGPT sucks for complex code. It's great if you drop functions in and you do chunks at a time, but don't depend on AI to do your entire project in one go. So what I normally do is I focus on it piece by piece. I use Python for scraping mainly. A lot of people do. A lot of people do. You want Nostr to catch on for real? Nostr's not going to catch on. Here's the reality. I've said this before. Nostr, cool tech. The reality is, Nostr has more of a learning curve to start using that application and environment of any social media than Mastodon. And you have people already saying Mastodon, for some reason, is hard for them to understand and get used to. So if people are already complaining about Mastodon, Nostr has no chance. And the irony is that by simplifying Nostr to the average user so it doesn't use this key combo, the public-private key they have to generate to access it, would actually be a detriment, not a benefit. Blue Sky's winning because it's a lot easier to use. Thank you for following, JB Nelson. I love the little bot. You're now part of the coolest tech crew since the Fresh Prince. Claude is way better at coding than GPT. I hear that. I haven't dealt with Claude too much. Not gonna lie, Mastodon isn't great for me because it really doesn't have recommendations. Blue Sky does. It depends. If you're in the tech community, Mastodon's really great because, the tech community just kind of gravitates there. But for the average person, yeah, there definitely is a little bit more of a learning curve. But I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Mastodon. My Blue Sky is larger than my Mastodon right now by a few hundred followers. But both my Mastodon and Blue Sky are more than 5 times larger than my Threads account. And both of them are more than twice as large as my Twitter account ever was. So, yeah. I'm making it even easier to use Blue Sky with my coming app. Ooh. Did you do even more improvements? I still got to review your code that you pulled and everything. I probably won't get around to poking at it until Saturday. Going to be working out with a friend of mine Saturday, and then I'll probably check the code out. I'm trying to get back to having a gym buddy to go work out and, just make sure my flow and everything is great. Nostr is interesting. Don't get me wrong. Nostr is interesting technology. It's just an issue of, it's a learning curve. Also, we'll eventually be talking about LoRa. I'm working on LoRa communication stuff, so we'll have that. Why doesn't Blue Sky have a real verification system? I don't like relying on websites. When you say verification... No, that's domain-based verification. Oh, the reality is because it's a decentralized system. Here's the reality. How does one make a decentralized system and have verification? You can't have that centralized verification system without having centralization. And if Blue Sky is trying to be able to be billionaire-proof and decentralize it and open source it and everything, so that we can take the verification in our hands, you gotta move to domain-based verification. Now, I'm sure there will be other mechanisms that come out, like there's labelers and stuff on Blue Sky. So, for example, there is an idea that, you could subscribe to a labeler to verify people, and they actually verify it. The Microsoft team, I noticed, has their own labeler to label things. Let me give you an example. If you look at my account over here, and you look at the labels, there's a couple labels here. Creator labeler.bsky.social, skywatch.blue, and this one over here. And you can see I have labels that I've actually added to myself. I also have my domain-based verification over here. A lot of people don't have domains, like Hank Green's B-Sky doesn't have one. That's more of a choice that he decided not to do. Because the reality is, Hank Green does have a domain, if I recall. Hank Green. So if we go to... Yep, see? He has a website. HankGreen.com. So all he'd have to do is get the DNS text record, drop that in, verify him, change his handle, to hankgreen.com. There's nothing stopping him from doing it, except himself. Who's Laura and why are you, being funny? Yeah, so Laura is going to be interesting because I'm talking about decentralized communications and stuff, but also, like, I had a thought in the back of my head with all of these fires that happen in California, and, you have disasters that happen, what does one do if the cell network goes down, or you don't have internet, or combination of both? So, that's why I'm looking at Laura for a decentralized communication. A radio license will help. You don't need a radio license for this. Because here's the thing. In a situation where you have a fire or all that, it's kind of hard to get with that. Laura is... Let's see. Laura stands for low power... Hold on. LoRa and LoRaWAN, they're just networking protocols. What does it say? LoRa stands for long range. Basically, if I can get the Meshtastic is what I'm looking at doing. So you have you have cases where this is an open source protocol that you can do end to end, and people have done things like LoRa. Someone put their dog tag, LoRa tag on their dog, and they were able to track their dog. This weekend, the contingency had prepared for occurred, and Meshtastic actually absolutely proved its worth. While hiking, the dog slipped its lead. We didn't notice he had bolted for a minute or two as we were stationary at the top looking at the view. Fortunately, both my partner and I run T1000E devices, and the dog has one in case attached to his harness. As soon as we realized he was gone, I checked the Meshtastic map and located him over 200 meters away in the valley below beyond a dense section of pine trees. So imagine that. That's the capability of LoRa. So I'm going to be doing content on this because I had the similar thought of I like to go hiking with my dog. And what happens if they chase a squirrel? It's happened. My dogs have good recall. But imagine in the situation and they kind of just go away. Yeah. So the way it works is it works at 915 megahertz. At least in the US. There's a couple other bands that it uses. And this is a completely open source protocol. You can actually go to meshtastic.org. There's different devices that use this. So you choose a device, you flash and configure the device, and then you just connect your device. And the way it works is you can either have a web client or you can have an Android or iOS app. And most LoRa devices connect to your phone through Bluetooth. There's ones that can do it Wi-Fi, things like that. Either way, you connect in. And then your LoRa device can, like, send your GPS coordinates, your, if it has a GPS built in. It can do text messaging, and they also can do AES encryption. So imagine you had protests or things like that, or you were at, like, DEF CON or something like that, and you just didn't want to use a cell phone or things like that. It's a peer-to-peer network, which relays around each other. Let me see if I can get it. Here we go. This is a good map. This is a good map to kind of show it. So, LoRa devices pass messages across each other that they see each other. So, you can basically relay the message through everyone. And each of these devices, depending on the antenna and the chip and everything in there, can go a few miles. The record right now is 331 kilometers. Dual boot or pass-through for GPU interfacing for AI development. Doesn't matter. Yeah, doesn't matter. So yeah, you can do encrypted communication with excellent battery life. So, like, you can get a lot of these devices to last anywhere from 12 hours on up. You can put GPS in there. No routers required. So you don't need internet. You don't need a cell phone connection for that. How big are these devices? Let me pull it up. So you got a few, actually. Hold on. In their blog, they got a few. There's other devices. You can make your own, too. They're not that big. Do they have pictures here? They do not. So yeah, you can do a Raspberry Pi Pico. Let me see. Fast versatile boards using the... Yeah, so you can do Raspberry Pis. You can get all these different ones out here. Like, these are all different devices that you can pick up. Let me see if I can get a picture of... what was I was looking at? Lily Go Echo? I think it was? Yeah. This is one of the devices I'm looking at. So, it's pretty small. Look how small that is. Also, why might you not want a phone at DEF CON? It's not that I don't want a phone at DEF CON. What you have to understand is the bands it uses. In the USA, we normally use 915 megahertz, but 433, 868, up to 915 to 933 megahertz, depending on where you are in the world, how they do it. But it's not that we don't want to. I don't want to use my phone at DEF CON. There are people, you have to understand, that bring their ham radios to DEF CON and meet other ham people, and I want to meet other LoRa people. So it's kind of like birds of a feather. You just kind of flock together and meet up with each other, and just kind of like, oh, you do this, you do that, like all that, what you're doing, things like that. That does voice communication? No, it does not do voice communication, from my understanding. It's text communication. So it's not a very fast network. It's built for reliability. The little device I showed, you can do Bluetooth 5, thread apparent, Bluetooth mesh, 802.154, Zigbee. But yeah, it's long range, low power. It's not a very, very powerful or fast network. That does voice communication and encrypted. No, it doesn't do voice communication. It does text communication. Because let me check out what the bandwidth of LoRa bandwidth. And then also you can make your own LoRa WAN. It's a little bit more complicated. Like basically make your own WAN network. LoRa uses 3 bandwidths, 125 kilohertz, 250 kilohertz, and 500 kilohertz. Hold on. What is the maximum bandwidth of LoRa? Hold on. Yeah, LoRa is extremely low bandwidth. 0.3 to 27 kilobits per second. You can do up to 300 kilobits per second, but that's on the extreme high end of things. This is not a very fast network. This is built for reliability. Think last resort situation. Your cell is out, your internet is out. Like California fire. You need a device that's going to last for hours. Or you are out in the wilderness, you're hiking. You get lost. You can then broadcast a couple miles out to somebody else in your hiking crew where you're at and send your GPS location. So it's a different use case than chatting. Now you can get, was it the LilyGo T deck, which is kind of an interesting device I saw, but I don't really see it's going to be fitting my needs. Some of them can do GPS. So, like, this is a LilyGo T deck. So you can have, like, a full device. You can build a case around it if you want, really, with the Meshtastic firmware. And, you can type a message out there if you really want. This is, like, its own self-contained unit, rather than just using Bluetooth to connect into your device. But you could use Bluetooth as well. And it's got Wi-Fi connectivity. So, if I'm not mistaken, you could do the LoRa over Wi-Fi, if you want. But yeah, I gotta play with it a little bit more. Yeah, LoRa is completely open source. LoRa is completely open source. That's part of the reason why I want to talk about it a little bit more. Because, don't get me wrong, I love Signal Messenger. I love Matrix Messenger. But the problem is we're depending on solutions that require internet. And let's say we're in a situation where we don't have internet. What are our backup solutions? We need something that works outside of internet. And a lot of people will go to ham radio, but ham radio requires you to invest time and just a small amount of money, admittedly, to get a license for it. And then there's a little bit more that gets into it. I'm not by any means turning anyone off from going to ham radio. I eventually want to get one. There's just more of a barrier to get into ham radio than there is LoRa. LoRa is a lot more accessible. As you can see, these devices are like $50. I think the most expensive one I've seen is like $200. And that's like a really, really, really nice one. I don't know if I'd get that one. So like imagine you can throw it on your dog and track your dog. So like there's this hold on. T1000 mesh tastic. I was also looking at this for when I go hiking with my dog and everything. Get a couple of these. So this is about $40. You can get a few different models out there. But yeah, they got a few different ones. But anyway, this card tracker out there, it's a little bit rugged. You can get it wet, IP65 rated. It's got a little magnetic charger. Imagine you throw this into your dog's vest or something like that. This is the same concept, but it's more card format. A little bit more rugged. So imagine you can take this and tie it onto your backpack, put it on the dog's collar, whatever, and you can have a connection with different people off-grid. So that's the difference. So that's not allowed because bugs. You're over focusing on that. But yeah, so you can use these. This one looks really nice. I've heard good feedback about this. This one uses the NRF 52840. The NRF ones are apparently even lower power, so they last longer. Like this guy barely has, I think, an 800 milliampere battery. 700. But yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking to get this for my dog, and this is what I was looking at when I go hiking, as well as just in general. I think it's a good shit hit the fan kind of design on top of the Lily Goatee. The advantage basically being with LoRa, you don't have a cell phone. AirTag is different. AirTag is Bluetooth low energy. AirTag is totally different. And the issue with an AirTag is an AirTag relies you on being close to an iPhone. If you're not within, 30, 40 feet of an iPhone, you're not going to see it. In the case we showed earlier, a guy had his dog run 200 meters away. That's way further than an AirTag will be able to reach. And you're in the middle of wilderness. There's no iPhones around. That dog is lost. So LoRa is better in this case. That's why LoRa is a better thing when you're on the go and all that. And like AirTag is a different use case. AirTag is, I need to find my luggage as I got off the plane. I need to find my keys. I need to find my backpack, every day. But if you're out in the middle of fucking nowhere and you trip and fall, AirTag can't give you GPS. AirTag at most can tell you where you are in proximity to the AirTag. This could give you GPS. I don't know if this one has GPS built in, but the idea is you could get GPS capabilities. Hold on. Does this have GPS? I don't know if this does. But yeah, this card right here can last for 2 days. I don't think this one has GPS built in. But either way, what can get GPS? Some LoRa devices have GPS built in, so you can actually Oh, there, yeah, it does. There we go. There we are. I just missed it. It's got GPS built in. GNSS. Right there. I forget what GNSS stands for. One sec. Global Navigation Satellite System. Refers to any satellite constellation that provides so GNSS is the term for GPS plus GLONASS, which is the US and Galileo. Okay, yeah, so imagine my dog goes running. I have 2 to 5 kilometer range on this, depending on the thing. So imagine I get one of these, and then I have my LoRa on myself, and then I can, track my dogs. So LoRa has a lot more advantages. Now, admittedly, in order to make a LoRa system work, you need at least 2 LoRa devices. So it's not like, because, your AirTag picks up off the iPhone or Android if you really want to go there, but, but it lasts about 24 hours. 24 hours is more than enough for this kind of thing, because, if you're going on a basic hike with your dog, you're probably not doing too long. But even then, with a 700 milliampere battery, if you take a USB cord with you and an external battery, you could probably extend that quite a bit. Battery pack of 10,000 milliampere batteries, lose about, 20% for energy conversion. You probably could fill that up about 10 to 15 times, depending on the energy conversion. So you got a week. But yeah. So LoRa is really interesting, especially in light of a lot of the things that are happening right now. Here's what I have in the back of my mind. Any GPS that is small that can last a year. I don't know about last a year. Anything that lasts that long with a GPS connection usually needs an active power source or a big ass battery. Does LoRa mesh with all LoRa devices, or just what you can connect it to? A and B. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Let's refer back to this. LoRa will talk to other LoRa devices that are within range, which will then talk to other LoRa devices that are in range, which then can relay it. And then it can connect to your phone through Bluetooth, or if you want, your laptop, through Wi-Fi or USB, depending on the interface that you have on your LoRa connection. So it allows for a lot more options in an off-the-grid setup, whereas a ham radio can only work with a ham radio. And then, as I said, there's more barriers to entry to do ham radio than there is to do LoRa. You could literally just give this to kids and get them to learn it and have them understand radio and stuff. Since it's already really low bandwidth, what about it? But yeah, so I'm looking at doing some LoRa stuff. I'm hoping to get some LoRa devices, possibly for next week's stream, and then we'll have a follow-up YouTube video on that, as well as my Tangara stuff once I get my stuff normalized. What would you want to use in a mining setting? You're talking about coal miners and stuff like that? Coal miners, you probably want traditional radio. That's just my understanding, because traditional radio is a little bit better for those kind of things. LoRa can be useful in a mining setup too, don't get me wrong. Here's the reason why I say a traditional radio. Traditional radio, it's a little bit more easy to use because it's a self-contained unit. you're already going to have established communication patterns between different people, and you can get a traditional radio to go much, much further. But when you're underground, you're still kind of boned, because you literally can only have the signal go one way. Well, not one way, but, you know, like, only down the tunnels. It's not like you can pierce through the ground. Sort of. Can to an extent, but you get my point. So, yeah, but, like, LoRa in, like, a clear open space, probably a lot better. Like, if you got line of sight, if you've got, the ability to at least have the signal bend around trees and stuff like that, yeah, it can work pretty nicely. Plus, it can piggyback off of things. However, let's say you have enough miners down there. You could use them as a repeating system, from my understanding. So that could work potentially pretty well. But also, LoRa only works with text. So, a traditional walkie-talkie and radio is allowing you to do voice, and very often, voice is going to be more efficient. Especially in an emergency situation. Think about it this way. The tunnel's collapsing! Versus, tunnel is collapsing. Think about that. Plus, a lot of radios are way more rugged than cell phones. You know, most smartphones today, once your screen's broken, you're boned. I'm dreaming to buy a U.S. military generator. Oh, there's tons of surplus generators and equipment. So, I mean, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. There are options out there. But yeah, LoRa looks really interesting. I'm really curious to start normalizing my audio and everything out here. I got to start loading my music on here. This will take some getting used to with this little guy over here. But the Tangara, this little music player here, definitely so far has been fun. Trying to see, where is... Yeah, there we are. So it looks like they have, can't tell if this is... Yeah, it's like 4 screws in here, I guess? No, there's 8 screws. And then it looks like there's the circuit boards here. And then they did like some kind of, let me show you this. This is really interesting. And the connection on that headphone jack is really solid compared to my iPod, because I've had to replace that connector so many times. So you can see the lithium polymer on the back. Or is this lithium ion? Well, it's 2200 milliamp hour. But if you notice, they kind of 3D printed a spring in there to retain the battery, so it's all nice, snug, and tight, so it doesn't, like, jiggle around. Shipping will be expensive to Europe. Yeah, as well as the fact that if you get a US generator, it's probably going to be designed for US 120 volt. So, you'd probably have to do some conversions and all that stuff. Probably better to just get a European military generator, or just one designed for Europe. What do you think about the Doomsday Clock? It's been around for a while. I do think people need to take it a little bit seriously, because it takes a lot of different factors into account to see what is going on in the world and how close we are to ending things. And I think a lot of people have just become apathetic to the way the world is right now and how messed up we are. Thoughts on T-Mobile, Apple, and Starlink teaming up to bring satellite connection to iPhones? I mean, it's great and all, but I don't trust Starlink. How many times has Elon promised to, like, help people out with Starlink and all that, only to be like, oh yeah, we're going to start charging you? I don't trust Elon. I really don't. That's not me just being anti-Elon. That's me looking at his history and seeing how much of an asshole he's been to people that are actually in need. I'm not particularly a fan of his. Here, the Transformer 3 buildings is 11 kilowatt. For Oh, yeah, you're talking apartment building and all that. I'm like, 11 kilowatt. 11 kilowatt ain't that much, if you think about it. But yeah, I like the idea of Apple being able to use satellites for stuff, but I just don't trust Starlink. Plus, I've seen how 3 phases by 11 kilowatt. Okay, that makes more sense. I hate Elon, but the tech behind building satellite service and smartphones is intriguing. Yeah, it's definitely intriguing. It's just a matter of I don't trust Elon based on how he treated Ukraine, based on how he treated certain emergency areas. Like hold on, let me make sure before I talk about this. Nope, that was something else. Sorry. I wanted to check it before I actually said anything. That was AT&T, I remembered. The tech is really interesting, but also Elon overpromises things. This isn't just like, oh, the satellites. The Cybertruck. Wasn't that truck supposed to be about $50,000 and a lot better quality than it is now? Weren't we supposed to have autonomous driving? He sold all these Teslas of $15,000 packages for autonomous driving, and we still don't have it. And we've not only had to go through not one, but 2 hardware revisions because they realized that the capabilities of the system wouldn't work. Like, what was it? They were on hardware 2 or 2.5, and there was a big class action lawsuit when they realized we need hardware version 3 in order to support it. And now what we're finding is, oh, I'm sorry, hardware version 3 isn't even good enough. We need hardware version 4. Oh, we don't need all these sensors on there. We're just going to be fine with cameras. I'm sorry, but no matter how much AI you put behind a camera can only see so much. You will still need, in order for AI to beat a human, additional sensors to see around what the camera can see for multiple reasons. One, what happens if the camera's dirty? What happens if the camera missees something, with the object recognition? We've seen that a lot of times. You need sensors to confirm what's going on. Think about just you as a human in day-to-day. You can't always trust your eyes. Sometimes you gotta, rely on your ears. You gotta rely on pressure. You gotta rely on, there's so many different things you gotta do. Like, what was it, the sense of the LiDAR? Bouncing the light off and everything like that? There's so many different things. Multiple cameras isn't gonna help. Cameras are one aspect of what you need. You need sensors. You need more hardware than just that. Vision is only one aspect of being able to do autonomous driving. Because if we want to do safe autonomous driving, we need to have the ability to see not just what we can see, but potentially what's around. And I don't mean that in a visual sense. I mean that in, think about a bat, okay? Bats use echolocation. I'm not saying we use echolocation, but essentially you can do a very similar thing with light to bounce things off, which a camera, okay? A camera can't exactly explain depth too well, because in order for a camera to properly show depth, you need to put it in stereo. I know this from working in the dental world with intraoral cameras. The best intraoral scanners, not cameras, use stereo. They have two cameras that actually are able to render it in 3D and give us the depth. But if you look at a camera just head on, like even me, you can make out depth in a way, but ultimately this image is still a two-dimensional image to you. However, if I got another camera and I put it in the right way, and then I were to lay over the images, I'm oversimplifying things just to make this very clear. One could generate a 3D image, which then gives us better definition of the world around us. For the purposes of this stream, we don't need 3D. For the purposes of driving out in the world, we do. I rented a Tesla a while back, and the cameras constantly stopped working while driving at night. There you have it. I've tried Tesla, and the honest truth is, to the average person that doesn't understand technology and the conceptual ideas of how you improve things, it looks impressive. Don't get me wrong. But once you start comparing it to the actual Chinese EVs that I've even tried out when I was in Europe, Tesla's bullshit. And how many years has Elon been promising autonomous driving? And so he's, oh, we'll have autonomous driving next year. Oh, we'll have autonomous driving next year. How long has Elon Musk been promising autonomous vehicles? A decade! He's been promising this for a decade. What about with quantum computing coming out with the Google chip? Quantum computing isn't going to help anything within this case. Quantum computing only just changes the idea of a computer being able to do a 0 or a 1 at any given time to a 0 and a 1. That's the big difference, really, when you think about it. Again, oversimplifying things. It's just a different way that a computer is functioning. But ultimately, a quantum computer won't help with autonomous driving if there's not enough hardware for the computer to be able to compute. That's just the way it works. BYD or a different Chinese brand. I was mostly in BYD cars when I was taking Ubers and stuff when I was in Portugal. But I did get to try out I get to see the Xiaomi's and stuff like that. I know the Ford executive, the Ford CEO, I think, is driving in a Xiaomi SU7, if I remember, to do market research on competition. Let me make sure. Ford CEO, Xiaomi EV. Yeah, the Ford CEO, this is in Car and Driver. Xiaomi SU7 for 6 months and said he doesn't want to give it up. You have the CEO of Ford that would rather get a Chinese car than drive his own or any other car that's available. And don't get me wrong, that is a sleek looking car. I would drive that too. I'm telling you, the problem is, I think Elon's personality drives away a lot of the best competition, best people, and best minds, because you have to understand, the most bright people in the world do not like to deal with assholes like Elon. Here's the problem with Elon. Elon likes to pretend that he's this smart person and everything. I'm sure he's smart in certain aspects, but when it comes to a lot of tech, he doesn't build it. He just knows what is distilled to him by his, team. His team's the one with the actual brain. They're light years ahead in the EV space. Absolutely. Because remember when Elon, years ago, was advertising the charging stations that can swap out your battery, the entire battery pack? I don't think we've seen those yet in the US, but they're in China. I saw them all over Shaohongshu, and people tell me, yeah, we get the option to either charge our car, or what's even interesting is there are some cars in China that they literally just pull battery packs out. So they have these little drop-offs where you can pull a battery pack out of your car, like several of them, put them back into a charging cell, and then pick out fully charged cells and drop them in your car. Or it can pull the battery out from the chassis underneath and then put a new battery in as a quicker way than just charging with the top-up. Yeah, China is definitely ahead. And again, this goes back to what I was saying, is that America doesn't think that China was in competition with America, but America was not thinking they were in competition with China. So now we're seeing what China did, and we're like, what the fuck? How did they get there? You put someone to the back against the wall. You have a country with 1 billion people. Now, I will say this. As advanced in the technology space China is, I can definitely vouch they are behind in the cybersecurity space. You see it all over the place. So, for example, DeepSeek. DeepSeek was, there's been pen testers and stuff that have been poking at DeepSeek, and they found some pretty decent flaws inside of there in their security landscape. Unfortunately, this is an issue China did of their own. It's their own fault to do this. Because China, in an effort to try to control a lot of information, doesn't allow for VPNs, doesn't allow for Tor, which are two technologies that are heavily common in the cybersecurity space. Now, there are people in China that use VPNs. Yes, I know that. But they're not allowed to use them officially. Keep that in mind. So the problem is, because they've cracked down on all the platforms that talked about cybersecurity and, ability for you to remain private and everything like that, they've had the unintended consequence of also stifling cybersecurity, knowledge, education, and innovation. Isn't the media constantly saying China's hacking our infrastructure and companies? There's a difference between being able to do penetration testing and go red teaming versus knowing how to defend your stuff. And the reality is, a lot of that education around what you're talking about is only really known by the government. They're talking to a lot of these people on Xiaohongshu, Red Note, has really opened my eyes to the fact that the average person in tech doesn't understand cybersecurity. To the point, they're still doing SMS MFA, as advanced as they are, with no real sense of urgency as to why to move to TOTP. Go look around at, Xiaohongshu or any of the dedicated apps. Hell, if you're on TikTok a few years ago, you could see the footprints there because they came from Douyin. The only reason TikTok has actually embraced, I think they even allow you to do passkeys now, if I'm not mistaken, is because they've been able to embrace the West and the technology experts we have in terms of cybersecurity. But the average person inside of China doesn't understand cybersecurity because, let me put it this way. If you study for your Certified Information Security Systems Professional certificate, right? You learn about technologies that China doesn't often want to talk about. VPNs, Tor, cryptography. Just go through your CISSP study guide. And that is why the CISSP is not as common over there, and I learned there's a different cert that they have just for China. I can't remember what it's off the top of my head. So, it was this amazing thing when I was talking to some of the Chinese people. They, learned I had a CISSP, and oh, wow, he knows all those things and all that. But there's certain things I can't talk about on there. So, but yeah, a lot of that is... But, I think a lot of the belief that we have around America, being attacked and everything is as a consequence of what we're doing to others. Good point. They don't support cybersecurity because that limits their gov ability to observe them. Exactly. Most of the Chinese people that I know in cybersecurity, that know their shit in cybersecurity, were educated in America or in Europe. But I have not met anyone educated in cybersecurity to the level of what we would require to understand that wasn't in China. I mean, that was, raised in China. I haven't, and the people that are like in the military of China and stuff like that and their intelligence and all that, they're not usually the ones coming to the West. So, but I also do believe, as much as we worry about America, getting compromised and all that stuff, a lot of it has to do with the fact that America has been doing the same thing we're worried about China and other countries doing to our infrastructure to them. So it's one of those, America's getting pissed off that the shoe's on the other foot. And, yeah. So, China's great with technology stuff, but I'm pretty sure if we were to get the Xiaomi car over here and test it, we'd probably find some decent vulnerabilities in there. Same as we found in Tesla many years ago. Tesla used to run everything as root many years ago, until somebody hacked a Tesla and started making it drive and do other things like that. What is the first thing you are going to do if the grid goes down? Oh, I got a bug out bag and boom booms for that. It depends on what you're defining as grid. Telecommunications grid, electric grid. Does Linux have YouTube? There's many people that do Linux content on YouTube. I'm starting to do my own power grid. Depending on the specifics of the power grid, but the first thing I would probably be doing is grabbing my bug out bag and just in case. And I've got water prepared. I've got enough to at least last for a few days through most issues. Nothing for a serious issue. Look, if we're in an absolute, like, shit hit the fan situation, I've got contingencies. I've got friends and places. Let's just hope it never comes to that. What'll be interesting, though, is to see how expensive our food and everything gets next month. Because, Trump said he's going to sign the, tariffs with Canada and Mexico. That's going to be, interesting, to say the least. I'm curious what's going to happen from here. I really am. I want to pop this open for a sec. Hold on. So it's kind of nice that, they tell you it's like right to repair just by the fact that they give you the tool to open your own screws and everything. Nyeh. Oh, I see. So, okay. I would probably need 2 screwdrivers because it looks like there's a little standoff in there and they kind of both plug in. It's like, it feels like it's turning both screws. I might have to get my iFixit kit later. Or it looks like just pushing my thumb against it can hold that. Okay, that's nice. Wait, where the... Oh, okay, here we are. Okay, so I see what they did. Okay. Yeah, so it's kind of a little bit flawed there because... Yeah, I would need 2 screwdrivers to kind of unscrew these at the same time. Or maybe they over-tightened the little standoff there. Nope. I just had to hold it with my thumb. Let's see what this guy looks like. I may eventually 3D print my own case to see what it looks like. What is the best sandbox to use? One that hasn't had cat shit in it. Usually I just do virtual boxes, but there is a sandbox that you can actually run inside of Windows. Linux can do sandboxing as part of Flatpak. There's a few options there. Windows doesn't really do as well with sandboxing because it's not really a feature it has at the base level. I think, what is it, the Pro versions can do sandboxing, but yeah. Okay, so you got this little, looks okay, this little ceramic thing, and it's got 2 different PCBs here. So yeah, it's a very nice, clean design. So we have the little haptic touch underneath the board. We have an SD card reader, ESP32 chip. Oh, that's nice. So I just noticed this. Hold on. You flip the connector here. Okay. Okay. So I just noticed, if y'all wanted to hack this just a little bit more, right next to the USB-C, I don't know if I can get this to focus. There we go. You've got pads right next to the USB-C. You could probably do a debug or something like that. And I think I did a boo-boo and dropped a button. Yep. I'm dumbass. Yep, there it is. So these buttons are in fact injection molded. You could 3D print the whole thing. So the buttons just kind of float there for the power and everything. If I turn it around. Yeah, so the buttons kind of float there. And then you... Damn it, I did it again. Just gonna put these down for a sec. This is the Chief Loses Marbles episode. Use Ubiquity cameras. What do you think of AI? I don't use Ubiquity, not because I'm against them. I had a local alarm company set mine up years ago. A friend of mine, before he passed away of COVID, did the physical install and everything. He was the guy that taught me my physical systems and all that. So, he set it up. He gave me a great discount and everything. So I didn't really see the need in going to Ubiquity cameras, as well as at the time, if I recall correctly, they were a pretty locked down system. Like, you had to go all unify with everything, and I wanted my stuff to be a little bit more open. And my understanding is that's changed. So, yeah. Mr. Handyman over here. Just got my financial aid from a college. I applied to $15K per year, way more than tuition. Nice. Is that Pell Grant money? Do you have to pay that back, or is that grant money that you won't have to pay back as long as you keep your grades up and pass and everything? But I like this design overall. It's pretty clean. I'm really surprised that an ESP32 can, like, function like this. It's just amazing what you can do with this chipset. Nice little screen. Not the most high-end thing, but I was surprised at not only the Tangara, but the fact that they made support for it so fast to update everything. 9,500 scholarship, 5,500 student loans. Nice. Here's what I would also recommend. Check out what other independent scholarships and stuff you can get. Because, of course, the less you have to pay in loans, the better. Like, don't get me wrong. Great deal you got there. But, I mean, that's still a good chunk of change. And I don't think you'll deny that. Okay, so the screen protector is built into the case. Top. They did a good job on this. Okay, so that little... Damn it. Dropping everything over here. Okay, that's gonna be a pain in the ass to find. How hard it is to find a clear screen on a floor. Bad loans are low interest, though, and I'm not taking out all that. They are low interest, but hey, you know, just do the math on how much that adds up over time. That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying that as a guy that only has like 8K in student loans myself. I got lucky that I've been in, like, I haven't had to pay that back for years. I'm not penalized or anything. It's just a matter of my school that I went to, well, they got caught in the US government, you know, defrauding them with the student loans and everything. that was ITT Tech. And then because of that whole thing, that held up my need to pay back my student loans for years. And then we had the whole COVID thing and all that. Like, all in all, I've only paid like maybe $200 in my student loans so far. Probably have to start paying that back soon, but it's kind of hard to say exactly when. Okay, so that is definitely... So I will say this. Easy to take apart. Yes, you can repair it. But, it's definitely very particular about how the pieces want to go back together. Because you have the, it kind of really surprises me how well engineered this is, that it just kind of fits together. It's definitely repairable. Maybe I'm just used to the iPods that are just like, they're hard at first to crack open, but once you actually get to use them, it's like used to them. You're like, crack it open, do the thing, and boom. There we go. Okay. So it's more, I probably just gotta get used to, working with this guy. But it is nice that they literally give you the torque screwdriver to open this up, so that you can be like, yeah, I'm gonna try this out. And then it turns right back on. Actually looking at ditching my out by boat, so I may sell up the collection. Wait, what? I feel like I missed something there in that conversation. So I do have a case coming to at least replace my little belt clip that I use with my iPod. We'll see how that holds up. You know, it's really interesting. I turn back on the Tangara, it shows the logo, and it goes right back to the screen I was at, where with the song in progress that I was playing. But I guess that's because the power didn't turn off. I didn't pull the battery out. I'm gonna really enjoy this device. I also like that they pick the translucent color, because the honest truth is, I think that's an aesthetic we need to bring back. Do y'all remember growing up and we had all the clear electronics where you could actually see the guts and everything? Like the Nintendo 64s and the Xboxes that had all the clear guts and everything. I thought that was so cool back then. You know, you could actually see the thing. Prison TVs, yeah! Like, I just thought that was so cool that, you know, you could actually see the guts in it. And the thing I loved about the transparent and translucent looks of a lot of the 90s and early 2000s technologies is it fueled your curiosity and your intrigue, because then you got to be like, oh wow, this electronics looks like that, like, does this, it does that, you know what I mean? Oh, I see. Oh, I see. That's clever. So I think you're supposed to fit this little piece here around that, and then Oh, that's nice. So now, that little cover that was in there, it covers up the SD card slot, and then you can just press in there, and ba-bam! Okay, that's a nice little aesthetic touch there. I like it. I like this. I'm definitely going to be doing content on how I get my music and everything. I like this. The only complaint I have with it, it's not as clicky. Like, there's just something satisfying about the click wheel of the iPod. You know what I mean? Like, that little click wheel, where you just like, dang, dang, dang. But it does have a little haptic thing. Oh, you. Hey, love the stream. Appreciate it. What is that, BTW? What? This? This is the Tangara music player. This is an open source MP3 player, but it also does FLAC and OGG and Vorbis and all the high fidelity codecs. It's got a 2200 milliamp battery built in, built on an ESP32. It's hackable, and you can even customize it in Lua. Are you into crypto, like cryptocurrency? Yeah. Here. I can prove that. 1 second. I got a couple things I can show you. That's one of my Monero nodes that I used to have. I downgraded it. Well, it's not downgrade, but it's on a Pine 64 now. I run my own Monero nodes so I can trust my own transactions and everything for Monero. I like Monero. I like Monero a lot. Let me show you what I mean by how much I like Monero. So I got this. I got this at DEF CON, and I paid Monero in person for my Monero bag. I also have a Monero jacket upstairs and a Monero t-shirt. I think I have a Monero hat somewhere. And then, in one of my badges, send me your Solana wallet if you have one. I want to donate. I haven't used Solana in a minute. I've been getting back into Solana. Well, I'm in the middle of moving from Ledger to a Trezor wallet. I made my own Trezor wallet a while ago because I wanted to see how open source they are. And then my actual Trezor wallet is somewhere here. Here we are. And then what I'm actually doing, I'm going to have some content that you might like. Yeah, I know Solana is huge. Yitz and I are working on some AI bot for our stuff. Do you have a hot wallet? So this is, let me explain my architecture so you can understand. Because I'm in the middle of re-architecting everything. So, cryptocurrency is what actually got me into cybersecurity. So right now, I'm moving from my Ledger to a Trezor. But not just one Trezor, 2 Trezors. The reason why is this is going to be my Colder wallet. This one is going to be using a Shamir shard. So I'm going to split the key onto multiple shards of 20 words each. The idea being, I can then split that shard once it's fully done into multiple places. So like I can have it physically in 3 different places. Someone takes one shard, that's it, I can recover it from the 2 others. The idea being is, I'll have a YouTube video documenting this and everything. I have a laptop which runs Cubes OS. And I run Monero over Tor, but I can run the wallets there in an isolated virtual machine. And Cubes OS is a really, really interesting operating system and everything like that. Pick up your paint. Wait, what? So, yeah, if you can post your Solana wallet in chat or something, I'll send you some. Hold on. I'm moving wallets right now, but this should do for now. Give me 1 second. I'll get it for you. Because I got out of Solana a while ago. Not because, hold on. I got out of it a while ago because I was consolidating. I've always been meaning to get back in, so that would actually help me out. And then, wait, no, wrong wallet. Where is my ledger? Because that's been one thing on my to-do list, is move everything over. Wait, what am I doing? There we go. Can your wallet hold, like, meme coins and stuff, too? Absolutely! These are full wallets. So the ledger can do that. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'll generate a Solana address with Trezor right now on my other wallet. Alright. Give me 1 second. I gotta do my passcode. See, I used to actually, funnily enough, I need to actually change my NFT that has my, what do you call it? What do you call it? Unstoppable domain that has all my addresses. I need to change all that over. Hold on, trying to remember my passcode. There we go. Okay. Now, let's add an account. Add Solana. Find my Solana account. It's generating it right now. Give me a sec. Accounts are still loading. Give it a second. Yeah, I knew I should have generated a Solana one earlier. What is the wallet? It's literally just a USB drive. Yeah, it's a USB drive. This is a Trezor. As you can see, this is the one I designate as the hot wallet, if it will focus. Come on, camera. Focus. This is the problem with this. It focuses too much on my face. All right, we got the Solana, I think, generated. Oh, I gotta update the Trezor. It's been a minute since I opened that wallet. But yeah, it's just a USB drive. So the idea is you want to have a hardware wallet instead of a cold wallet. A software wallet. The reason why is a software wallet is more vulnerable to malware. Because your private keys for your cryptocurrency are on your actual device. So if they're on your actual device, then there's no real protection or isolation from them. And if there's no isolation, that becomes a problem. We're experiencing issues with the Solana network, blah, 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 blah. Fucking A. Fine, we'll go to my ledger. Solana gets hit or miss sometimes, I notice. But yeah, I did security research for a lot of cryptocurrency and stuff, and if you want to know how into cryptocurrency I am, at one point I was the head of IT for Cointelegraph, and they, I don't care for them. There's a lot of shady shit in there that made no sense. I got kicked because I asked too many questions, and I started, let's put it this way. One of my friends that got paid, I found out that their crypto payment was 2 hops away from an address associated with the Kremlin. I found out that The parent corporation they had in the Cayman Islands shared a PO box with people that were in the Panama Papers. So yeah. There's a lot of shadiness, unfortunately, in the cryptocurrency space. They left a bunch of people stranded after the Ukrainian crisis in Turkey and stuff without payment. Yeah, they can go F themselves. They tried to bend me over the barrel. Why are they so expensive? Are they FOSS? Trezor? Not that expensive. It's like $60. The Trezor Safe 3 is about $60. The Trezor is open source, though. To prove that, this is a Raspberry Pi Zero with a 3D printed case with a little hat that I attached on it. And this is completely compatible with the Trezor software that I use with this. The difference is that this has a secure element. A secure element helps prevent tampering physically. Although, not fully, but it can at least give you some mitigations. Which is the big reason why years ago I went with the Ledger, because the Trezor, the Model T, which I also have over there, it didn't have a secure element. Okay, there we go. There you go, fuck you. That's my Solana. Now, the cool thing about a hardware wallet is when you send your address, you have to confirm on here as well. Well, that's just to, like, verify, all that. Because there is a way to actually manipulate software wallets so that you think it's your actual address. So it's another step of verification. A hardware wallet is more secure. Not gonna lie, that's kind of expensive. $60 ain't that expensive. Let me put it this way. Spending $60 to protect Bitcoin, which is over $105,000 for a full coin right now. And a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space have thousands of dollars. Now, I'm by no means any whale. I spend most of my cryptocurrency doing research. I've actually spent a lot on Monero, trying to actually understand how the networks work. I've spent money on Ethereum to see how they work. And you can actually... You can make a lot of money in cryptocurrency if you're paying attention. So one of the things I've actually been thinking about doing is we're working on an AI bot that's actually going to monitor whales. And then I'm going to mirror whales' trades proportionally to the money I have. So that way the AI has a little wallet attached to Solana that actually can do its own trading of meme coins, so I can follow what a lot of the whales are doing. And basically piggyback. And it's no different than what I do in stocks, because a lot of my stocks are ETFs. So there's actually two tickers in the stock market, for those of you not aware, that actually follow the Democrats and the Republican trades. There's Nancy, like Nancy Pelosi, which follows the Democrats. And you have Cruz, as in Ted Cruz, that actually follows the Republican trades. So I actually mirror their trades. And let me show you that in practice. Nank stock. And there's people that literally just monitor Congress to see their returns and everything like that. So there's two. You have the Unusual Whale Subversive Democratic Trading ETF and the Unusual Whale Subversive Republican Trading ETF. So if we look at this, okay, within the past year, that ETF has gone up 26.47%. That's beating the S&P 500 which averages, what? About 10% year over year. The Republican version of it is at 16.66%. Okay, the S&P 500 is 23.27 in the past year. So the Republicans are doing worse, but the Democrats are doing 3% better. Stretch that out 5 years. It's gone up 62.94%. Republicans have gone up 31.29. And the S&P 500 has actually beat them. So I kind of spread my amount across them. Now, the other thing I also do is I put my money in stablecoins. So I put my emergency fund in a high-yield savings account with regular cash, and that can earn me 4.1% interest. So I can let that sit, and it can at least collect. So like every every month I'm getting at least a few dollars, just sitting there doing nothing. And then if I need the money, I can pull it out. I'm doing a similar thing with stable coins in the cryptocurrency space. Now, if you just let it sit in like Coinbase, I don't like sitting it in a exchange, just to be clear, I can get 4.1%, so it can match my high yield savings account. But then if you move it into DeFi, decentralized finance, and go to something like Aave with Ethereum, put the there, you can start collecting, you can then lend it out and make 11-12% on that. So there's a lot of different things you can do with cryptocurrency to diversify. But let me make this very clear, man, before anyone's like, I want to put all my money in cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is honestly one of the last things you should do in investing. Cryptocurrency is where I put my money in terms of investment that I am comfortable losing. What you first should do, get yourself a financial planner that is a fiduciary, and get yourself a Roth IRA that has a tax-advantaged investing account, basically. Roth IRA first. Then you can go into your regular stocks, bonds, and ETFs and all that kind of stuff and do your own investing. That's worthwhile doing. S&P 500 good, you can do your little, buy a few shares of Apple, Nvidia, however you want to invest. Just don't do options. You will screw yourself there. The average day trader actually makes less than minimum wage when you break it down. Just so you understand. Then look at metals. Metals are always a good, stable, conservative investment, like silver, metal, platinum, palladium, all those different things. Then cryptocurrency after that. That's my advice. I'm by no means a whale in cryptocurrency. I just have enough to dabble around, and I've used my Bitcoin more for actual expenses. So like I actually spend my Bitcoin for my Mastodon server. I spend my Bitcoin for my website hosting. I spend my Bitcoin for my Proton mail. So I actually use that cryptocurrency. You can do flash loan. Flash loan. Take as much money as you want if you return it within the same block. Interesting. ETH earned 5.2. Nice. Yeah, I'm trying to get more into the DeFi side of it that way. I'd like to see Cardano take off on the DeFi side of things. I've been in Cardano for a minute. Right now, my Cardano's just been staking for like 2-3 years or so. And yeah. And I still laugh at the fact that a few years ago I made the joke, Monero is the best stable coin. I said that as a joke years ago. I didn't mean it to be true. Tezos, I get paid from time to time. I used to be heavy in Tezos. I made a lot of money in Tezos. And then I pulled it out and put it into Monero and Cardano. I already had Cardano, but yeah. It was one of those, like, I just kind of looked at it and I'm like, it's time. I'm going to move. So yeah. I am in cryptocurrency. I'm not a crypto bro. I'm a cybersecurity person that does research into cryptocurrency. But I have a laptop that's more secured. I use hardware wallets for a lot of my stuff. I'm moving things in. I'm coding in the crypto world mainly. We'll have to talk. We can talk. Yeah, Yitz was doing some coding and things like that a while ago with Selenium and everything like that. No, not Selenium, Solidity. Sorry, different language, begins with S. Imagine B-Sky getting paid for live in crypto, etc. DAO for contract. It'd be interesting, but I honestly think a lot of the Blue Sky community, and especially the Mastodon community, got burned out by all the cryptocurrency scams. Now, I understand where you're coming from. I do see cryptocurrency as being a very valuable thing in a decentralized space to pay for things. It's funny that I got a lot of people pissed off at me on Mastodon when I mentioned that I pay for my Mastodon server in Bitcoin. It is what it is. But yeah, I like, I like that, I have money there, basically, in a digital space. And, I remember reading the Bitcoin white paper in, what was it, 2009, 2010? Have you watched the HBO Bitcoin documentary, the last one? No, I have not. I used to mine Bitcoin with a GPU. So, funny story. I bought this house in part thanks to Bitcoin. I sold most of the Bitcoin I did have when it peaked at around, like, was it $1,200, $1,400, somewhere around there. I had I think about a couple dozen Bitcoin or something like that. I had quite a few. And, this house was cheap. When I say cheap, like, this needed a lot of TLC. There were roaches in here I had to clear out before I could move in. I didn't live in this house for like 2 weeks when I first owned it. We had to do so many repairs. And, yeah. Watch it, you will understand something I did. Curious what you mean by that. But yeah, I've been in cryptocurrency for a while, tinkering with a lot of different things. If it wasn't for cryptocurrency, I wouldn't be deep into cybersecurity as much as I am. One of my first Bitcoin miners, the heavy Bitcoin miners, we went to Micro Center. I got 6 AMD R9 280X GPUs, slapped those in a motherboard with an Intel Core 2, I think it was. And that was also when I had to physically hack the motherboards to do a presence detection short. You had to short the PCI Express pins to force GPU 5 and 6 to be detected. And then we used, what was it, SMOS Linux? Which was a Linux designed for mining that was on a flash drive. And if it wasn't for one day where my Bitcoin miners got compromised, and then I found out they were mining for somebody else, and that led me down the whole rabbit hole of, how did this happen? What happened? How do I prevent this from happening? Which ultimately led to, I'm getting a pfSense firewall, and I built my own network and everything. I wouldn't have a career in cybersecurity. That's the honest truth. Everyone's like, I got rich off of cryptocurrency, you know, or try to get rich off of it. I got rich off the knowledge I got in cryptocurrency. And I think that is far more valuable than anything. Because at the end of the day, if God forbid I lose all of my cryptocurrency, I can earn all my money back with the knowledge I've attained. And I'll be, you know, like, I'll be able to live off of that. Whereas there's quite a few people in the cryptocurrency space that if they lost all of their cryptocurrency, they wouldn't be able to survive and function. They got lucky. a lot of these people. So yeah, there definitely is I think something interesting when it comes to that. How did you find out that your crypto machine got compromised? Well, simple. There was an expectation when you're mining that you would get paid every few intervals, and I noticed there was like a week gap in my payments, and I went to go check the actual miner, and I noticed the payout address was different. Which then led me down the rabbit hole of, well, somebody got in, somebody tweaked it. Now, at that point, you could only investigate so much because this is when I learned about, oh, you need to have audit trails and logging and all of that stuff. And it was one of those, well, I didn't do that. No one had physical access to this to do that. So how do I prevent this from happening? And that's when I learned to firewall my entire network. That's when I learned to segregate my network and, do all these things. And I think what it came down to was somebody had a device that was compromised on my network, and then they piggybacked through there. And yeah, it was just one of those learning lessons. How long did it take you for you to earn a Bitcoin at that time? So you could earn a Bitcoin. No, so when I was doing that heavy miner, the era of Bitcoin mining Bitcoin on a GPU is just starting to phase out. So we were doing mining pools and everything. At that point, I had moved from SHA-256D, which was Bitcoin, into Script, which was Litecoin, Feathercoin, Dogecoin, all these other. I was mining Doge when it came out, and Doge was merely a joke, okay? It wasn't like we're getting rich and everything. Like, to be honest with y'all, I forgot I even had Doge, and when I looked at my wallet, I'm like, oh, fuck! Ha! There's an extra G. Nice. And I immediately moved that to Monero. And I remember that was when Dogecoin hit like 10 cents. I just forgot about that. But early on, I mined Bitcoin directly with my laptop when Bitcoin was only a few dollars. And the reason why I stopped mining Bitcoin was my laptop was like a freaking turbine, as you could imagine, when it's going full bore doing that. And it was just like, oh, this is cool. We're making a little money. Here's the few pennies. This is kind of cool. You're just doing it for the kicks. You're not thinking you're getting rich. Like, when everybody's like, how do you think that guy that bought a pizza for 10,000 Bitcoin feels? And I'm like, probably the same way I felt about spending, it wasn't a full Bitcoin or anything like that. I think it was like, back then, maybe 0.1 Bitcoin for hot sauce. I remember Peck's Pepper's hot sauce back in the day used to take Bitcoin. Anyway, so you could mine, I think I got like a few Bitcoin over a single month. And the reason why I stopped mining Bitcoin was the girl I was dating at the time got so pissed off at how loud my laptop was. And she literally said, either you turn off that laptop and come and, go to sleep, and then I will fuck you and give you the best head of your life, or you can just sleep on the couch. Well, needless to say. And then ADHD happened, and then you forget to turn back on the miner. 2010-ish, yeah. That sounds about right. Maybe 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. It was, I remember Bitcoin was not worth that much. Like, not what it's worth now. It was like, okay, cool. Like $20 here. But it was like, I can make like 20, $30, or I can get laid. Well, God gave man both the penis and the brain. Unfortunately, did not give us enough blood to run both properly at the same time. But all in all, I'm still happy with the choices I made in life so far. Yep, Robin Williams. Last who made that quote. But yeah. I I do need to move my wallets and stuff. I got so much tinkering to do. I've been working on all these different videos and everything. I gotta work on that little Solana wallet, you know, AI trading. I'll probably get started on that soon. Because I gotta get Solana moved into my wallet, then I gotta actually, connect it to the bot and everything like that. But yeah, that'll be fun. And I should actually, you know, get rid of all of my, I need to move everything off of my ledger to my Trezor. I gotta stop being fucking lazy about that shit. But that's just me, right now. That's my own hang-up. And then what I think I gotta do is build some more nodes and everything. The annoying thing is, if I move from my ledger to my Trezor, now I gotta move my NFTs. I don't have really many NFTs. The only NFTs I have are unstoppable domains, which I use to, like, point my address, and then I gotta get back in and, adjust the addresses that are there, and then, restake my Cardano, all of that stuff. I should probably go ahead and do that this weekend, maybe. What's a ledger? This. That's a Bitcoin hardware wallet. This is a ledger. I have a couple of those. So the idea that I've been having for a while was to split them in different amounts. So, like, this is the Ledger Nano S. I picked this one up at DEF CON. They gave the wallets free when you bought, like, Monero merch and all that stuff. So basically it's a hardware wallet similar to, like, the YubiKey. So, you know, the hardware security keys I use, like this guy over here. You've seen me use it a million times for my multi-factor authentication. So the idea is that your private key stays on this device. And if your computer ever gets compromised, your crypto isn't stolen because only your public view key is on there. So that's the idea around these, is it keeps it a little bit more secure. This is the Ledger Nano S Plus. These are like $50. But I like the Trezor more, because Trezor is open source. Because you can literally make your own wallet, like I did here. This is the Ledger Nano X. The only reason I have this is this one was, so the original Nano S only allowed you to have, like, 5 crypto apps at a time. So you could only have, like, 3 or 4 wallets, and then you'd, like, remove and add, and it was a pain in the ass. And then this could hold 120 or something of them. This one I bought because I wanted to split coins out, and, so, like, the idea is, like, I don't have all my eggs in one basket. And I also hate the X because it has, a battery built in Bluetooth, and I don't see the need for that, because, like, people were using it on their, like, phones and stuff like that, whereas this doesn't have a battery built in. It's just powered off of the device itself. And but yeah, I'm moving more towards the Trezor. The Trezor Safe 3s, really inexpensive to be used for all this stuff, a little bit more secure. But yeah, explain what the documentary reveals to my eyes. Nice. But yeah, you can also use the Trezor and the Ledger as a FIDO Web Authn key, similar to YubiKey. Yeah, I'll check your Discord message in a sec when I get off here soon. You have a YouTube channel where you teach cryptocurrency? I have a YouTube channel where I talk about IT and cybersecurity as a whole, which happens to have at times cryptocurrency lessons. What actually makes Monero more secure? Not that it's more secure, it's more private. It's designed with privacy in mind. So if I give you my Monero payment address, you wouldn't be able to see how much is in there. Whereas most other cryptocurrencies, the ledger is transparent. Now, Monero also wraps it in rings to obfuscate things. Like, the IRS is trying to have a huge bounty to get people to pay for, to get them to crack it, and, they haven't really been able to do that. Here we are. So if you are curious about this, One of my very first YouTube videos from 5 months ago talks about paper, software, hardware, why Trezor beats Ledger for cryptocurrency security. It's a older video, admittedly, but I did break it up into chapters. Where I talk about how I architect my wallet security. I talk about why I started using Ledger. Now, admittedly, this is one of my earliest videos, so it's a little bit more rough, because I was still learning to edit, so I think I just did it in one go. I'm probably going to redo this at one point, but I talk about, the entire thing there. So, yeah. So, yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I'm working on cybersecurity and tech knowledge content as a whole, but I don't primarily focus on cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency just happens to be one of the topics that I work on. And of course, it's one of those things where if people ask me enough over on Mastodon and Blue Sky and even in my Discord, which, by the way, at Discord, we have a cryptocurrency channel, even though it's not the most active channel because we're just so many things going on there. I'm more than willing to do deeper dives into different content for people. My main goal in all of my content is to educate and inform people. So whether it's just the everyday person getting themselves more protected, a professional, or somebody who wants to be professional, learn more, you can. Because the reality is, if you're working in cybersecurity, you do need to understand cryptocurrency. Not from the avenue of, you need to invest in it, but you at least need to understand it, because the reality of it is that it is something that is becoming more common in the field. And I would like to educate more people to become their own bank and financially be responsible. There's a lot of people that are falling for stupid scams on cryptocurrency and stuff like that. There's a lot of people I know that have lost money in stupid ways, that if they just learned some of the knowledge I give them, they could have been protected. My dad himself, before he and I stopped speaking, I had to get police involved just before anyone asks, when we stop speaking, it's no contact and everything. He lost $180,000 to a cryptocurrency scam. Because he believed some random person that hit him up on WhatsApp. It's the pig butchering scam. Are y'all familiar with the pig butchering scams? This is an actual term. I'm not making shit up. But if you're not familiar with pig butchering scams, it's a very similar kind of scam to the romance scams, which are someone reaches out to you to befriend you, have a romantic connection or such, and eventually they start gaining your trust. And then they start saying they got some kind of amazing investment that they have that's going to make, it's giving them insane returns. It's unbelievable. It's one of those, too good to be true situations, pretty much. And they maybe convince you to put money in. And you think it's legit. You're seeing your gains and you're seeing your growth and your, all that. And they're a fake website. And all you're doing is you're giving these people your money. And you put more money in and more money in and more money in, thinking you're getting better and better and better returns. And eventually, you put enough money in, or too much money, you need to start pulling money out. Or you're thinking you're getting returns. And when you go to pull your money out, that's when they hit you with the actual butchering of the pig. Because you fatten that pig up. And then they demand some more money from you. $1,000 or whatever. To get your money out. And that's not going to give you your money. They're just taking you for the last ride. And that is why it's called a pig butchering scam. Because you fatten up the pig with this big-ass piggy bank. And then when you go to get it, they slaughter the pig. 180K my dad went for. And I've known several people that had that happen. I had a person I knew that lost their entire house and it cost them a divorce and everything like that because they didn't listen. They thought they knew better. And it's and it happens to a lot of these older people. And yeah, so it's a very unfortunate situation. People lose their entire life savings and there's no recourse because you gave your money voluntarily. And these sites are fake. They're usually overseas and stuff like that. So there's not much you can do in the way of, getting your money back. And this site that my dad fell for was so bad. I remember when he first came into it, because this is like, I literally sat him down and I gave him his first lesson, because like, I want to invest in Bitcoin and everything like that. I'm like, okay, fine. Hand him a crypto hardware wallet, educate him on everything, and I explicitly told him, when you are ready, I will educate you about DeFi. But right now, you need just the basics. And I told him straight up, buy on Coinbase, transfer it to your wallet. Total. Don't do anything else until you're ready. And then somehow someone hit him up with this fake website called CoinZoomExa or something like that. And he put tons of money in. My dad and I got into a yelling match. Because out of nowhere, he's like, do you have $3,000 in USDT? And I'm like, that's where immediately I'm like, alarm bells as a cybersecurity professional. Because I'm like, what do you need $3,000 in USDT for? Oh, I needed to get my money out. And I'm like, no, you don't. He's like, well, they say it's for transaction fees. I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, but you have $180,000. And I'm like, yeah, it's gone. Well, and we got into a big fight. Like, he didn't want to listen to me when I said, no, that's a scam. And I told you it was a scam from day zero. And I literally had to pull up the website, do the whole code inspection, show him your coin's not going anywhere. This is a fake website that's just loading locally, that's just generating random numbers to make it look like it's legit. And it was like, I had to do this deep dive when I'm like, I literally have spent now an hour and a half explaining to you why this website is a scam. And, I knew it was a scam within 5 seconds just looking at the website. It's one of those, like, you look at a website and you're like, it's definitely really off. That kind of situation thing. But yeah, there's tons of scams out there. Cryptocurrency is definitely filled with a ton of scams. And that's the unfortunate thing is it's not just the meme coins and, all that kind of thing situation. It's the straight up old-fashioned con man-like scams that are going on. And it's very unfortunate that these things keep happening. But yeah. Pig butchering scams, huh? But yeah, we will definitely, I can definitely rehash the cryptocurrency security stuff once I get back into, once I build my wallet. I'm also going to be refreshing my, Start9 server pure, which is going to run my own Bitcoin local node and my Monero. Well, I already have my own Monero node. And these will run it over Tor so that I can keep my transactions a little bit more private. This is a nice little device here that runs StartOS. This was given to me 2 years ago. I need to get this running again. There's a lot of projects on my list I got to get around to running. I unfortunately had a bad health issue for the past several months, which I've talked about prior, which is why I didn't do more than stream and make a few TikToks here and there, because that was all I could manage between that and work. And that's why you're starting to see me pick up on making more YouTube content and everything. So I actually have another YouTube video that's ready to go. I finished editing it just right before. Now I just got to do my final pass, just to do my final view. This one's about how government-funded projects are not always meaning that it's government backdoored. I don't know what the title's going to be. That's basically the premise of it, but that's basically what it is. But, yeah, and I do all my editing on Linux. I do all of that stuff. I'm really looking forward to making more content. I'm hopefully going to be getting a bonus from work, and if I do, I hope it's a good enough amount to get the camera equipment that I'm hoping to get, because I have a lot of things I want to do to improve the YouTube videos I'm creating for all of you. I want to definitely do some vlogs when I go to DEF CON and stuff. this year. I'm hoping to make it out this year. I still got to wait to see if work's going to send me or if I'm on my own dime. If I am on my own dime, a couple of my friends and I are going to split the cost for a hotel room. Because as we all were like, we're in the hotel room maybe like 3-4 hours a day at most just to sleep, you know? So it'll be interesting and fun. But yeah, there's definitely a lot we can talk about as time goes on. I'm definitely looking at doing Laura and more things like that, so yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun. But it's getting a little bit late, guys, so I am going to call it a night. We're not going to do any gaming right now because it went a little bit later, but hey, it's still fun nonetheless. I miss the Micro Center vlogs of yours and when you went to go get food on your trips. I will be doing that with better cameras, and we're going to be doing it on YouTube. So that kind of stuff's coming back. But I'm shifting more towards YouTube. What was the name of the computer you just showed? I've got the Tangara music player over here. Was that what you're talking about? This. Start 9, Server Pure. It's from Start 9. Now, you don't need this specific computer. You can get their operating system and put it on a Raspberry Pi or your own computer and run your own box. They were kind enough to send me a whole computer. Like, this has, I think, 32 or 64 gigs of RAM. It's a Core i7, 10th gen, and 2 terabyte NVMe SSD in here. It's a nice little device. Open source firmware on here. So Intel Management Engine is disabled. Nice, secure, private. So I am working on a lot more YouTube content, especially with the fact that we don't know what's happening with TikTok. Not to mention, TikTok has been still waiting for your hardware overview. Thank you for all the information you share. Yeah, I'm going to be getting into all the hardware and stuff that I've been doing. It's just a matter of I wasn't healthy for a while. It took a lot of, discovery with the doctor to figure out what was going on with my body, changing of medications, changing of supplements, and things like that. But yeah, I will be working on it. Just expect that I'm going to be focusing more on Twitch and YouTube. TikTok has been, suppressing a lot of my content, and it doesn't get out to my community a lot, and a lot of you want to use it as resources, and YouTube's a lot easier to search, and not to mention, if I focus on YouTube, I can make more money out of there, and with more money means that I can translate that back into more hardware that I buy, so that I can actually do better things, because while TikTok gave me my start, it's kind of gone downhill. It really has. I'm still doing it because I have a lot of my community there, but we don't know what's going to happen. It's still up in the air for the sale. It's upload your TikTok videos to your blog. So I'm working on the opposite. I'm making YouTube videos and cutting clips of that for TikToks, if you notice. I'm starting to go in reverse. So TikTok is going to be the secondary platform. And of course, I'm, always on Blue Sky. I'm on Mastodon. I'm on Discord. I have a Discord server for all of you that, you can hang out with. There's a cryptocurrency room in there. There's cybersecurity we talk about all the time, tinkering and everything. So it's got a little bit of everything. You don't have to be an expert. You can just be a beginner. It's for everyone to join in. And Saturday nights, we do movie night. This Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is The Sound of Music. And of course, we've got Twitch, we've got YouTube. So I'm planning on all sorts of different things. Once I get better camera equipment, I'm planning on a DJI mobile camera. I'm planning to get a Tuxedo Computers laptop with an NVIDIA GPU and an AMD CPU. I can have mobile editing and then all this other stuff. I'm really looking forward to this year being the year that I start breaking out into becoming a YouTuber more. But yeah, I'm looking at, I'm going to be duplicating a lot of that info into YouTube videos. So look out for that. It will be coming. Just expect that TikTok is going to be the very condensed it's going to be the condensed high-level overview of things. Don't expect me to get into things as deep as I do on YouTube. So, yeah. With what hardware would you do a street cart counter? Like how many people pass by every day? Oh, shit. funny you mention that. I used to do the MSP for a company that actually used to do the street lights for the city, and they had systems like that. I don't remember what they are at the top of my head. But yeah, we're going to be doing a whole lot more content over time. Give me time, because I'm working on different ideas. So I have, like, right now I'm working on 7 different content ideas, along with other things, like Cubes OS, the reasonably secure laptop. I'll be getting into that a little bit deeper on YouTube than I ever did on TikTok, because, you know, TikTok only lets go so much. What is this? Oh, I already did the kernel level anti-cheat away thing. Basics I recommend for a business from my MSP experience. Why people are upset with Proton and why it doesn't matter. How to run an AI LLM locally. I already did that on TikTok, but we'll be doing it on YouTube. Blue Sky may replace Twitter after all. Meta blocking Linux is not malicious, just incompetence. Those are a few ideas I've been thinking about. But I'm also working on, of course, you know, the cryptocurrency, the LoRa idea, the all of this different stuff. Lots to come. I'm really happy to show y'all what 2025 can be, and hopefully my YouTube does well enough where I can actually use that income to do some more amazing things for y'all, because it's kind of my dream to turn it into a side hustle, at least, if not more, where I can start going into cybersecurity conferences, not just DEF CON. I want to go to several B-Sides conferences around the USA. I want to go to the ISSA. I want to go to RSA. I want to go to the Chaos Communication Conference over in Europe. I want to go, you know, show you the different things in cybersecurity around the world. I want to go to Shenzhen, China, and see all the electronics out there and show you what, you know, it's out like there. I want to go to Akihabara in Japan and find the unique electronics. I want to play with K-phones, you know, in Japan. I want to play with all these different things. But we'll get into those very soon. Anyway, just make sure to follow me on all of my other social media if you haven't already. Check the links in bio. Mastodon, Blue Sky, join the Discord, join the Matrix server, follow me on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, follow me on TikTok, and of course, feel free to check out the merch store. Purchases always help out everything what I'm doing with this community. I love y'all. Happy hacking. Stick around for the raid on Twitch. Otherwise, I will see you Sunday for the next stream, Saturday for movie night, or in the Discord or such. Stay safe out there. Happy hacking. And I love y'all.